Deep down the middle of the field, Tyler Boyd over the shoulder catch at the 16. Woo. And he streaks into the end zone. Touchdown, Bengals. Now Burrow throws toward the left sideline. Back shoulder throw. Chase makes the catch. Cuts into the middle of the field. Bye-bye. And the chase of Chase is unsuccessful. A 41-yard touchdown. The Bengals' fourth TD in 4 first-half drives.
Bettor Zone.
It is the Bettor Zone. What's up, Greg Larnard? Holden Kushner here. You can check me out on a lot of different things. Run Pure Sports, the Denver City Cast, and the Bet Rivers Network, and right here on the Bettor Network. I love it. Greg, welcome back to the show. You want to plug anything you're doing before I talk about Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, who probably took down a whole bunch of slates today, and Jamar Chase just crushing for the second straight week. What do you do, Greg? Aren't you somewhere in Tennessee?
I am somewhere in Tennessee, and we are rocking and rolling with the Vols. But the Mocs got a big win this weekend. The Titans down, the Colts yet again. Yeah, I'm in Chattanooga, and on ESPN Chattanooga from noon to 2 daily. You can find me there, ESPNChattanooga.com, and on Twitter at Greg Larnard. So nice and easy. And of course, here on the Bettor Zone, the Bettor Network with you in these last 3 weeks.
So here we go. You'll notice, as always, I'll be looking at my television. Now, since I'm the host of the Denver City Cast, it's a podcast, and I totally just go to the Bet Rivers Network. I will be talking about this game probably for an hour tomorrow, minimum, and it's the Broncos and the Jets. And the line opened at 42.5, and it closed at 36. Zach Wilson and Brett Rippon. Now, the Broncos are one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL. The Jets are one of the most surprising teams in the NFL. I think the Giants are right there with them. You talk about disappointments. I think we're going to have to talk about the Bucs today. We're going to have to talk about the Packers. But let's talk about the good here first. Greg, we heard the Chase and Boyd intros, and I'm looking at it here in PPR. Chase went for a 33 spot. Tyler Boyd, a 29.5 burger. 8 catches, 130, and 2 touchdowns for Chase. Tyler Boyd, 8 catches on 9 targets. Wow, for 155 and a touchdown. He had a big 60-yard touchdown in that game. Greg, one other thing I want to bring up, Joe Burrow. I have a hard time believing anybody from the late slate's going to catch what he did today. 39.24 fantasy points as he throws for 481 and 3 touchdowns. No picks, 20 yards rushing, another touchdown. He had like 300-something yards at the half. What's going on, Greg? Talk to me here about these Bengals today.
Yeah, you mentioned something about burgers. Well, everybody was eating at it in Cincinnati today, whether it be with Joe Burrow. You mentioned Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. These are to me, this is the best trio of wide receivers in the National Football League when they're all healthy, when they're all right. And it's nice to see Joe Burrow in this offense start to get clicking a little bit. And it makes sense because you look at this Atlanta Falcons team, and they were already without Casey Hayward, who went on IR this week. You were without, what's his name? AJ Terrell, who went down in this game. So that was you're down your best 2 cornerbacks in this one. The Falcons really didn't stand a chance. They made it close at halftime. They got to within 11 on a big kickoff return. And then the Bengals just blew them out of the water in the second half. And, yeah, when you can sport this type of firepower with Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon running the football well, getting in the end zone. Burrow even had an rushing touchdown in this one. Yep. I mean, as I mentioned, everybody was eating. The only thing we were missing was a Hayden Hurst touchdown.
Hey, let's update you on what's going on in the games right now. Remember last week, Geno Smith, everybody loved the Geno Smith. Kind of disappointed, and I think a lot of that had to do with the Tyler Lockett injury. He's just not quite as effective without Tyler Lockett being 100%. And it's another week where I got Lockett out of my lineups. And right now, 2 targets, a catch for 7 yards. But Geno's looking a lot better. And he actually had Goodwin on the touchdown. So he's Goodwin's got, 2 for 41 and a touchdown. Yep. Kenneth Walker. This guy, listen, he was a hot waiver wire pickup. If you didn't already stash him, the lead running back for Seattle now, he's back in the end zone, 5 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. They haven't used him in the passing game yet, but every week you'll see somebody else pop up. This week it's Marquise Goodwin with the touchdown. Geno Smith, 76 yards, a touchdown to pick, and nothing's going on besides for an interception for Justin Herbert. So a slow start for him, and Eckler already has 3 catches for 40 yards. What do you got in this game right now? Because Seattle, there's a few teams that I think we got to start buying into. Seattle, the Giants, maybe the Jets. We'll find out what they do today. But boy, Seahawks off to a big start against the Chargers.
Are you really ready to buy into the Seattle Seahawks? The
So
Geno
if they
Smith
blow the
led
Chargers
Seattle
out
Seahawks,
today on the road, yes. Even though it's
you're
a
all
home
in.
game, probably, because no one goes to Chargers games.
No, nobody goes to Chargers games. The Chargers will get back in this game. I'd be surprised if they don't get back into this game. It's still early, still the first quarter. We've seen many teams have slow quarters, and the other team kind of roll a little bit in one of those quarters. So I'm looking for the Chargers to get back in this one. Herbert should be fine. Eckler should be fine. They'll get some other guys involved. And we need Mike Williams to get a catch over 23, 22, 24 yards, something along those lines.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Keenan Allen is back this week, Greg. So
he is.
Yeah, and he's been targeted once. Eckler with 3 targets, and then Carter with 2. They haven't even looked at Mike Williams yet, but we do know that Mike Williams is going to get his shots. We also, here's the lines in that game if you're interested. Down 14-10 with the ball around midfield. Oh, McManus just missed a field goal for the Broncos. The Chargers are just
in that one, so hopefully they keep missing.
Yeah, Chargers just 4.5-point dogs right now, down 14 with the ball. I want nothing to do there. And with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, the total here is 61. There was a 51 total. That's a 61 total. So that thing is jet. I want nothing to do with that game at this very moment. Now, let's talk Jets and Broncos. Broncos are tough to watch. If you're a season-long fantasy player, don't mess with the running back game there. It is a disaster. You got Boone with 3 carries, Gordon with 6 carries, Murray with 16 yards and a touchdown. So this week has just been a mess. And if Jerry Jeudy has a big week, don't buy into it because Russell Wilson doesn't look his way as much. For the Jets, Breece Hall, 66 yards and a touchdown, a 62-yard run. We were looking at Michael Carter saying it could be a 50-50. Breece Hall is just too amazing. Breece Hall is going to be one of the top 5 running backs in this game if he stays healthy. So I'm just looking at it right now. 7-6 Jets lead the Broncos. McManus, I had him over 1.5 field goals. He just shanked one, and he missed an extra point. So Brandon McManus not having a good start to today's game. Talk to me. You got 13 points in the first 19 minutes today.
Yeah. It's again, I'm looking for the under. You're looking for the McManus field goals.
Breece Hall, I'm looking for the under. I got so much in this game, buddy. Don't even start. I hit this. I stayed up till 3 a.m. I knew that this total was gonna just plummet during the week because we got word late on Sunday that Wilson had issues with his hammy. So the line dropped around 3 a.m. Hit it at 42.5. Then closed at 36. So this week, a little bit of skill at betting and a little bit of luck at betting, but that's only CLV. There's no guarantee. But you got the under what? Did you get at least 38.5?
I got it at 37.5.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. It's Brett Rippon. Yeah. It's Zach Wilson. It's the Denver defense has been spectacular besides from giving up that big run to Breece Hall, and the Broncos offense just flat out stinks. So
yeah,
I think you're still
all bad on both sides.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Chargers.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I was just gonna say, going back to this game, talking about this game. Yeah, it's hard to really buy into either side. Whether it's Melvin Gordon who got back into starting there, both defensive lines are very good. Both defenses are very good. Frankly, I would be shocked if we get to 40 points in this game with both of these quarterbacks playing the way that they are. You saw the big long run by Breece Hall. That was electric. And that won't happen again in this game. There's not going to be a lot of big plays. This will be some sort of a field goal game, tough and tight down the stretch. I'm not looking for much offense out of either of these quarterbacks. Frankly, look, Zach Wilson, I know he was out earlier this season, but he's been a big time disappointment to me with the offensive weapons that they have there in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And I know they had Elijah Moore, but he doesn't want to be on this team anymore. He's not getting the football. Denzel Mims was just activated. Corey Davis is there. Tyler Conklin, Braxton Berrios. So they have some young pieces there. How is it all going to come together? It's really just been the Breece Hall show. So, in this game, Holden, there's not going to be a lot of points put up. So I actually don't mind getting this game at 37.5.
Just relax. You'll be fine.
I'm good.
If there's another touchdown in the first half, I'd panic a little bit. I would.
Yes, I was a little afraid when I saw Brees Hall break off that. I was like, oh my God, I knew it. I said it to myself as I was placing this bet. I'm like, look, this game shouldn't go over 38 points, but it's going to be one of those weird games where Zach Wilson and Brett Rippon are just going back and forth trading blows. I hope it's not that way.
Well, listen,
I had that thought.
I'm going to give you my whole list of bets. Not that anybody cares, but I want to get it off my chest. Under 42.5. We got under 24.5 same game parlay. Both teams under 24.5 at -120. That's not a bad number at all. I got both teams under 2.5 touchdowns for both teams. So we'll see if I can either get both or we get one of them. But again, I'm a little bit uncomfortable because the Broncos actually had one drive where they moved the field, and the Jets, on the other hand, have picked up a couple of first downs. They did not that time. So there's going to be a punt. And that's great for the total, Greg, because now we'll have a punt. Broncos will have it deep in their territory, and this is how unders are made. We have red zone turnovers, or we got punts from right around midfield. That's going to help us a lot. So I got a ton. Brees Hall over 15.5 carries. Right now he only has 3. Maybe I should have looked at the yards. It's early, though. Let's move on to maybe the game of the afternoon. I mean, for me, it's not, though. The Chiefs and the Niners, not just because I'm here in Denver, but for most of you, it is. And it's 13-7 San Francisco on top of the Chiefs here in the first quarter, right? Where are they here? Let me get that game up. 12-11 to play in the second quarter. Yep. Second quarter. So that's huge. Also want to let you know, we got some pretty cool giveaways coming up here. Okay. These prizes, we were always giving away cool stuff. It was the Levy autograph last week, Marv Levy autograph jersey. You can win an authentic Dallas Cowboys Alvin Harper signed jersey, or an authentic San Francisco 49ers John Taylor signed jersey. I remember John Taylor and Alvin Harper. He's a wide receiver, but John Taylor was a badass. Help us settle the debate. Which NFL franchise is better, Dallas or San Francisco? Tweet the hashtag Corey's Cowboys or Henry's 49ers and tag at Bettor Network on Twitter. So Corey's Cowboys or Henry's Niners. I think you know which one you're going to get the prize for. So do that. Yeah, the most passionate fans in the world that are on Bettor Network. You're going to win this. One of you are going to win this. Corey Nando at Friends, 3 Eastern, Bettor Sports Network. Go check it out. I'm looking forward to that. Now, let's get to this game because the Niners had a 13-0 lead on the Chiefs, if I'm correct there. And right now, we've got the Chiefs plus 130 on the money line, plus 2.5. Niners, let's see here. They just kicked the ball. So Kansas City is going to have the ball on their own 29-yard line with a 13-7 lead here. So, Greg, talk to me. You watching this game? What are you seeing right now? Niners adding CMC. He went for a 12-yard run, 3 for 31. Good God, this team is loaded offensively around a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah, they really are. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Trey Lance gets back and gets healthy. And I know that they are looking forward to kind of pushing that reset button and saying, all right, Trey Lance, you're going to be our, electrifier at the quarterback position. But for now, they got Jimmy G, and Jimmy G is Jimmy G. He's that game manager, and he'll be okay. But adding Christian McCaffrey is a big jolt of energy. You can hear it in the stadium, and the announcers were talking about it. Every single time he runs from the sideline, just goes into the huddle, they're cheering, they're excited. It's renewed energy there in San Francisco. And this season, obviously, it hasn't gone Holden exactly how they wanted it to in San Francisco. Still 3-3, a tough loss to Atlanta last week, and in Atlanta looking to rebound on that. But what I see in this one is Jeff Wilson Jr., who just said, hey, look, this was my gig, and you guys brought in another dude. He's running the football hard in this one. If you played him in your fantasy league because you had to, whether it be with buys or whatever it may be, he's rewarding you a little bit here early. He's running the ball a little bit of juice and had some big catches from Ayuk and Samuel, and just kind of a renewed energy, it seems like, around this San Francisco team right now, Holden.
We've got 10-3 Texans over the Raiders. A lot of us here that played DFS thought that Josh Jacobs was going to have a big game today. So first half, 2 minutes left, 10-3 Texans in Vegas. Jacobs, 9 carries, 41 yards, just a catch on 2 targets for 5 yards. So it's a little bit of a slow start for him there. For the Texans, my guy Davis Mills. Here's a DFS, just threw a $5 free bet or free DFS lineup out there with Davis Mills, Brandon Cooks, and Nico Collins. But Mills, 95 yards at a touchdown. Collins, 2 for 24, 3 for 22 for Cooks. Dameon Pierce, 12 carries, 64 yards. He's getting used in the passing game, 3 for 20. Let's start with him for a second.
Kid.
That's my guy. And I remember after week 1, everybody, get rid of that. I traded for Dameon Pierce in one of my 3. I got him on all 3 teams now. Love Dameon Pierce. Bell cow. I don't care if they're a crappy team. He's running 20 times a game. He's getting the ball in the passing game. This is a guy that I think you got to target before he really starts going off. He's going to be a top 6 or 7 back, could win you a championship this year.
Yeah, and I love a coach that's not afraid to come out and say, we need to give this guy the damn ball more times. Yeah. And he's like, I got to get this guy at least 20 carries a week. And if you're a bettor, you have to love hearing that. And especially in a matchup with the Vegas Raiders here. Look, him and Josh Jacobs, very similar type players. Pierce, obviously a little bit younger, a little bit more dynamic at this point. But both guys in this game are going to have good games. They were anticipated coming into this game to have pretty good games. And we know that the Houston rush defense isn't very good. The pass defense has been pretty good there. Derek Stingley Jr. has been good. So I wasn't sure how the passing game was going to go, especially with no Darren Waller. Hunter Renfrow really hasn't done too much. I've got a bet on Foster Moreau over 2.5 receptions in this game. So I'm hoping that they do get the passing game going a little bit there in Las Vegas. As you mentioned, it is 10-3 right now. Vegas has the ball, and this first half is flying. They are already near halftime here.
I try to introduce everything to my process, or new things every year to my process. Last year it was introducing a lot more injuries, and there's doctors out there, sports doctors, former Chargers doctor, Dr. Chow, amazing dude. Get a chance to talk with him. 2 guys that he was very iffy on: Tyler Lockett, Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow came back. He really is hampered by his injuries, got a catch for 20 yards. But I also think there's something bigger going on here. Carr got banged up earlier in this game, and he had Devontae 4 catches, 46 yards in the first, and he's done nothing here in the second quarter. He just hasn't hit him. So it's been a lot of Texans to this point. I wonder if you want to back the Raiders here. There's still 3-point favorites. Nope, they just scored. Never mind. Never mind. So we got to score on the board. This conversation,
maybe it would have been good.
What's that?
I said if you got them maybe right before we had mentioned that, it would have been good. But they scored now. That's going to go the other way. Yeah,
it's over. I had about a 1-second window to get in there and back the Raiders. And unless the Texans end up pushing the ball, then I don't think we have it. But listen, we're at halftime. And the total is 42. I got to go look at the number there. And that's Mac Hollins' touchdown. Really? Wow. If all the guys throw a touchdown too, he throws it to Mac Hollins. 10-9, 25 seconds left, extra point pending. But we can look at the total here. What would you, did I already say the total? If I did, too bad. But what would you set the total at? 10-10. We'll basically go to halftime, 10-10.
The total at this point going into the second half, I'd probably say 45.
Okay. So it's at 42. You would go to the over.
I would go with the over.
I said 43. So we're sitting here at 42. I'm going to wait for halftime to come. Maybe we can get a little better juice than 42. Minus 115. As always, you're going to want to shop around. You're going to want to go to different books. Don't just bet at one book because you're missing out on free money. Why pay minus 120 when you can get minus 105 somewhere else? It just doesn't make sense not to shop around. Just do a little bit more work. 43.5 at BetMGM, and we got a 42 at DraftKings. And now they just closed it. So again, at halftime, we'll find out. Greg, let's come back to a leaderboard. Dudes went off. I mean, we'll start with Cincinnati, right? Because they're just leading the board right now. But some other big paydays. And of course, we got the loser board too, because there's been some pretty crappy performances today. Really bad performances, right? And Patrick Mahomes got to get it going. He's Greg. I'm holding. Stick around. We're going to do the leaderboard, the loser board next on the Bettor Zone. The Bettor Zone.
Bettor Zone.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old.
Better Sports Live with
and
Rick
then we run
Tama,
over
weeknights
literal
at 7
chains
Eastern on Better
and
Sports
measure
Network.
it. It's like, you think we can probably
It's like
get that figured
it's like
out.
the least precise way to measure something, and then like immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you like first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible.
Now you're bringing up
But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry, couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring up the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have like satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
And I love that. It's like and not to mention like that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball like right into his face. Right, like he's coming over to spot it, and it's like every other time the player just like, here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach, because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
Four-man rush, has time, going to lay it up over the top. That's Goodwin in the back of the end zone. He has got it. Touchdown, Seahawks. A beautiful route run by Marquise Goodwin. Kind of pushing the quarterback into the inside and then backs out to the back corner, and that ball thrown perfectly. A 20-yard touchdown, and the Seahawks are on the board first, 6-0.
Hang out in the Better Zone, where you track NFL live action on Better Sports Network.
Holden Cushion alongside Greg Larnard. Oh, boy, there's a lot going on. That was the Seahawks Radio Network. So, Seahawks leading the Chargers 17-7. That's the good news. Two huge things that are bad for the Seahawks. The really big one, I was hoping DK Metcalf just had to take a poop again. No, he's out for the rest of the game. Injury to DK Metcalf, unfortunate. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. And then Austin Eckler, who is going to win a lot of people a lot of money today. If you bet his overs, or you played him in DFS, or you got him in season long, he's going to help you. Eckler just scored 17-7. Seahawks leading the Chargers. Metcalf down. We got 12:45 to play in the first half. And you're only getting the Chargers at plus 130. So I don't think DK Metcalf's worth a touchdown here. But, Greg, it doesn't seem like you got a lot of faith in the Seahawks, and I don't think Vegas does in this game either.
No, I really don't. Look, you talked about the inefficiency of Tyler Lockett. Mm-hmm. I love Kenneth Walker. Geno Smith has been good this year. But, yeah, no DK Metcalf. Knowing that defense, giving up as many points as they give up on a weekly basis, the Chargers can get going offensively in a hurry. Keenan Allen's back. Mike Williams goes back to sort of that outside complementary role. Austin Eckler keeps rolling. I know there are all kinds of bangs up on defense, and a lot of the numbers I was seeing have this game in the 60s right now. The sports books that have it at 64.5 is the over-under. So they are expecting a lot of points to be scored still to put up in this game, even with DK Metcalf down. I expect a lot of it to be on the Chargers side. They're plus 130 or 125 I'm seeing right now. I would probably take that.
All right, elsewhere we got Houston and Vegas. Remember I was telling you about that total was 42.5 at minus 125. I found a 43 at minus 105, so almost even money. So we got a show bet here, at least my bet, over 43 with the Raiders and the Texans. So I look for some points being put up in the second half. Ooh. We just had a touchdown. I told you Patrick Mahomes got to get going. Patrick Mahomes got going. But how about Mecole Hardman, huh? So Mecole Hardman has caught a touchdown and he ran a reverse for a touchdown. Anybody got some Mecole Hardman today? 25-yard run for a touchdown, 3 catches, 27 yards and a touchdown. Chiefs and Niners 43. This total up to 59. I thought the Niners would play a little defense today. It's not looking that way, Greg.
No, it's certainly not. And I just got right before that touchdown, I got the Chiefs at plus 120, I believe it was, through a little, show bet on that. And now they're at minus 145. So I like where they're at right now. Yeah, like you said, I thought we'd see some defense there from the 49ers. Maybe we will, but it's still it's all about that Chiefs offense. And hold on, I wanted to ask you about this. What did you make of the news that came out before the game that said Isaiah Pacheco is going to be, starting? He got the runs with the ones this week in practice, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire kind of goes to that backup role.
I had Pacheco over 32.5 yards. Right now he's got 4 carries for 12 yards. I thought that he would probably get 8 to 10 carries.
Win.
Huh? So I thought he'd get 8 to 10 carries, and ultimately he's got 4 right now. We've got 7 minutes left. I think he's going to get there. He's averaging 3 yards per carry right now, so I'd like to see him break one off. But for me, I think we're starting to see the rookies take over, Greg. Breece Hall in New York. Travis Etienne, who basically is a rookie in Jacksonville. Pacheco, sooner than later, he's just a better back all around than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So if you drafted some rookies, these running backs are going to start paying off right now. And we're seeing it. So maybe Pacheco will get going. I'm going to need like a good 10 to 15 yard. I think a 10-yard run out of Pacheco, and he gets over the 32.5.
Just got to break one. That's it. Just break one.
Just break one. I mean, Breece Hall busted through his on one run.
Yeah.
He's set. All right, let's go talking about Breece Hall. Let's talk about some leaders. We'll go to the leaderboard. The leaderboard. That was an explosion sound if you didn't hear it. Aaron Jones. I didn't watch much of the Green Bay Washington game. The only thing I watched about 2 minutes. There was a couple of really nice throws by Aaron Rodgers, but ultimately Aaron Jones, I guess, was the big one today. Only had 23 yards rushing, but 9 catches, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. Number 1 running back in the week at 28.6. Benjamin on Thursday, 25.3. And then the aforementioned ATN. So we really haven't had guys completely go off besides for Aaron Jones. ATN, 19 PPR points. Nick Chubb, 18.7. Gus the Bus Edwards, 18.6. Shout out to my man, Big T, Tony Niehaus over at Run Pure Sports, told me to play Gus Edwards today. I said, you're an idiot, but I'll play him anyways because I trust you. And Gus the Bus, he got in the box a couple of times. It was shocking. But Lamar went over his rushing prop, another sweat. He did it again in the final minute and a half of the game. So that's 2 straight weeks. He gets over his prop. Mark Andrews with a donut. But back to the running backs here. What'd you make of the top of the leaderboard? Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Gus Edwards, and anybody else you want to throw in there?
Look, it didn't help. Obviously, the Packers lost, so it was nice to see, though, Aaron Jones getting more involved in the offense, and they really need to get those running backs more involved. And, just to kind of vent on the Packers for a second, the offense is just so terrible, so anemic at this point. Nobody can hang on to the football. Nobody can get separation. Lazard went down, and, Lazard down. Romeo Doubs didn't get involved at all. But it was nice to see Aaron Jones get in the end zone twice, get him involved. A.J. Dillon, to me, was a big-time loser, and I know we're talking leaderboard here, but you mentioned Gus Edwards, who is big. How about this name? And this is a guy that I picked up in a couple of places after the Christian McCaffrey run CMC trade. Deonta Foreman. I know Chuba Hubbard started, but he was the guy who led the backfield this week. 15 carries, $118 on the ground, man. I love that. And I know they're going to ride the hot hand, and they probably want to get the rookie or the second-year man and Chuba Hubbard going a little bit more. But if Deonta Foreman is chugging along, why not ride that train?
Dante Foreman was big with the Texans. The problem was he couldn't stay healthy. He was going to be their lead back.
He was big for the Titans last year. He was huge for the Titans when Derrick Henry went down.
Big for the Titans last year, but this guy has a pedigree. Yeah. They had him in Houston. He just couldn't stay healthy. He's not an every down back, But if you can get the timeshare like the one he has right now, he could be kind of good. The MILF Hunter, by the way, Zach Wilson with a almost 25-yard run. It was a big run, whatever they're going to give him on it. But if you have a little Wilson today, he's awful. 4 of 9, terrible. 17 yards, and then he had an 18-yard run. He's got 2 for 22. But this is the issue I have with the Jets. They face a ton of backup quarterbacks, and their quarterback stinks. I mean, Zach Wilson's nothing more than a game manager to me. And that's
Can we get more Joe today. Flacco? Joe Flacco was slinging.
I'd love to have some Joe Flacco. He's doing this right now. I would love to have some Joe Flacco back there if I'm a Jets fan. All I can tell you. Let's get to the quarterback position. We'll do that. Moving on to QB. The leaderboard as it is right now. Hold on one sec. Joe Burrow, 39 points today. Daniel Jones, 28.7. Andy Dalton the other night with 26. And then Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray rounding out the top 5. Let's take a quick break. I'll come back right here on the Bettor Zone.
Bettor Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Bettor Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin.
Yeah, what happened?
Better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo. He's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry, okay? Talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach. Makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting to bring up.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd, instead of looking at like Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you want to know why? They're paranoid. They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Williams and Keenan to the left. It's a handoff to Eckler. Eckler bounces, lowers his shoulder, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers. Austin Eckler from 8 yards out with his 5th rushing score of the season.
How's your fantasy team performing today? Where's your action? What's on the game day menu? The Bettor Zone is the place to celebrate your passion for football on Bettor Sports Network.
To the Bettor Zone, Holden Kushner and Greg Larnard hanging out with you today, having a good time. We're talking about the QB leaderboard as it is. But before I get to that, Greg, you got to be a happy man. Mike Williams with a touchdown. Now, I can't remember if it was the longest reception or the touchdown. Tell me.
We needed long. We
Okay.
needed reception length. It was, let's see, over 23 and a half.
All right, not yet. But it looks as though the Chargers, there's a reason why they were only plus 130 when they were down by what? 10 points?
10. Yeah.
And the reason is, well, they forced a turnover after that, but they're really good. So you got a 14-yard. Let me update you on the leaderboard, though. Let's get to the quarterback. Burrow is the best, 39.2. Daniel Jones right behind him, 28.78. Hold on a second before I go too far. 202 yards, a touchdown, 107 yards and a touchdown rushing. Is Daniel Jones in the mix for a weekly start in your season-long league?
He is. He was my weekly starter in 2 of my leagues this week that I did not have suitable starters, whether it be Russell Wilson, who was injured, or somebody on a bye. It was nice to stream Daniel Jones in there. And on one of my other teams in the league that I had Russell Wilson, I wish I would have started him instead of Matty Ice, who was ice cold today and was one of my big losers this week.
So that's the quarterback leaderboard. Trevor Lawrence again, 18.7. Aaron Rodgers, 15. So really, we've had 3 guys this week go off. 2 today, Burrow and Jones, Andy Dalton the other day. And I think before it's all said and done, Greg, I think that Mahomes is going to join the club. Herbert is going to join the club. And maybe Derek Carr is going to join the club. But Derek Carr really got hit hard, and he just hasn't been the same ever since. And I don't know why they haven't gone back to Devontae Adams, who's got 4 for 46 right now. So I'll keep an eye on that. We already talked about the running back leaderboard. So again, out there, Aaron Jones up top, Eno Benjamin, Travis Etienne, Nick Chubb, Gus Edwards rounding out the top 5. What about wide receivers? Anybody help you today? Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, 1 and 2. Chase 132 touchdowns off 8 grabs, 33 points. Tyler Boyd, 29.5. Paris Campbell? What? I saw him get targeted a dozen times, 10 catches for a touchdown, 23 PPR points. Nuke Hopkins the other night, and Hardman, I told you, scored 1 in the air, 1 in the ground, and he's going bananas right now. So talk to me. The last guy I want to bring up, though, DJ Moore, poor guy, right? It took PJ Walker coming in here for him to be number 6 at 19.6 PPR.
Crazy. Look, you're talking about DJ Moore. In one of my girlfriend's leagues, she started him, and then we put him on the bench in the other one because, again, he's got PJ Walker throwing him damn football. And so I figured, he's probably not going to have that great a game. In the other league, she kind of had to play him, and she kind of got mad at me a little bit for not putting him in her lineup in one of the other games, or suggesting that I put him in her lineup. But a guy that really stood out to me, you mentioned Paris Campbell, and obviously that just is a blip on the radar. He hasn't been anybody who's been consistent this year. But how about Terry McLaurin going up against Jair Alexander, having a nice game against the Packers? I was very hesitant to play him this week. If I had a better option, I probably would have sat Scary Terry because you saw what the Packers and their secondary have been pretty good over the last couple of weeks. Even though they haven't won the last couple of weeks, they've been good as a secondary. Scary Terry with a nice game. And you mentioned Nuke Hopkins coming back and playing well. So I was happy about that. Those couple of things were good. And look, if you have Tyler Boyd, you probably didn't play him unless you kind of had to slide him into a flex spot or, whatever it may be. But Jamar Chase, a couple of weeks in a row, was just stellar, awesome. We talked about the Bengals offense earlier. It's been fun to watch when they're right and they're moving and grooving. It's fun to watch, Holden.
We got some injury news here. Breece Hall is out for the game. He's now has a knee injury. So if you had his yards, congratulations. If you had him scoring a touchdown, congratulations. At least you cleaned up your bets. But now it's the Michael Carter show. So those of you that had Breece Hall, that wasn't good. It looked pretty nasty. I'm not a doctor though, but Hall just 3 carries today, 70 yards at a touchdown. So he's not getting to 15.5 carries. We'll X that one out. Sometimes you're going to get beat on injuries. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't even get upset about it. So Breece Hall's out. DK Metcalf is out. 2 huge stars here in the fantasy world. having to sit down for the rest of their games. Okay, tight end real quick, and then we'll move on to the loser board. Jawan Johnson the other night had 20, had 2 touchdowns. David Njoku, another guy that left injured. I love David Njoku with Brissett in there. I don't know how busy he's going to be when Watson comes in a few weeks, but Njoku with an ankle, he left. Before he left, though, he was spectacular. I mean, he was, 7 of 7, 100 yards today. Hayden Hurst from Cincinnati. If you're on Bengals offense, you didn't finish top 10, you stink. 11 PPR for Hurst, 10.7 for Evan Ingram against his old team, the Giants. Cade Otton, I had him in a DFS lineup or 2. Thought he got me a goose egg. Looked after the first slate. Oh, boy, he scored a touchdown? No, but 4 catches for 64 yards. And we'll take that out of Cade Otton at 2,700. George Kittle tearing it up. 80 yards off 4 carries, 10.4. Who's your favorite tight end today?
My favorite tight end today would probably have to be Hayden Hurst, that we've seen so far. And it's just so disappointing. In one of my leagues, I have a 3-keeper league, and I had to trade to acquire Kyle Pitts, and everything that I was hearing around this area and these parts down here were the radio home of the Falcons in this area down here in Chattanooga. And Kyle Pitts was the talk of the town. The second-year guy, generational type talent. I know it's Marcus Mariota throwing him the football, but you figure a guy that good would be able to get open and they'd be able to scheme him open and he'd be able to be fantasy relevant, but he hasn't. And I have Hayden Hurst on my bench, and I'm getting to the point, Holden, where I'm like, do I play Hayden Hurst in a much better offense over Kyle Pitts on a weekly basis?
Yes.
You
absolutely.
have to at this point.
Yeah. So is he at the top of your loser board?
Oh, he's him and AJ Dillon and Matt Ryan are like kind of right stacked in the top 3.
Well, AJ Dillon is on mine too. Today's loser board, though, it's highlighted by the guy that was banged up all week but decided to play. The Browns were blitzing Lamar Jackson. When that happens, when you're studying these games, you got to figure out which teams like the blitz a lot, because that's going to affect how Lamar Jackson plays this game. He started running in the second half, but that meant Mark Andrews had to come back and block, and he ended up with a goose egg. So for me, Mark Andrews is right there. I think AJ Dillon at this point is borderline droppable.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this for a second, because I got him on one of my 3 leagues. So 15 yards, 4 carries, 15 yards. This offense is a complete dud. He doesn't really get targeted much in the passing game. I'm this close to dumping AJ Dillon. The only reason I don't want to is because he'd be the premier handcuff in the league, but I'm this close, man. He's just not getting used, and whatever those thighs are doing, they're not big enough. Maybe he just needs to get them bigger.
I don't know if those things can get any bigger. Let's be honest, Holden. I mean, you put probably all 4 of our thighs between me, you, Better Boss, and
I got
Ant in the background.
Legs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've got long, lean legs as well. Like I don't have anything big. But look, when it comes to AJ Dillon, it's bad. It's just the way that this offense is operating right now. They don't have anybody in the passing game. What I would love to see happen. You mentioned Aaron Jones's catches today, and he was utilized in the passing game a lot more. Maybe you put him in the slot a little bit more, and you get AJ Dillon in the backfield. Let him do that, and let Aaron Jones run some routes and just hand the ball off to AJ Dillon a little bit more. There's not been a lot of running room for Aaron Jones as it is, so they got to find a way to better utilize their best players, and that's Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. So I'm not dropping AJ Dillon at this point, but at this point, until he shows you something, you're absolutely right. You can't play him. Yeah,
big time loser board today. Andrews and Dillon. You know what I forgot to tell you here, Bound? Hit us up in the chat. What are you betting? If you got any in-game bets for us, hit us up. DFS. You sweating anything out? You got any questions about Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football? We'll talk about everything that's going on right now. Who's on your loser board? Hit us up in the chat. You can also call us, and make sure you hit the fun button. It's usually called the like button, but here it's so much fun. I love hitting the fun button. I found it very easily today, and I got in there and I hit it. So go do that. Halftime right here in Denver, Colorado. 10-9 is the score, Greg. 10-9 in what has been a very ugly, slow, grinded out game. Again, Breece Hall is out. So that's not good. And at halftime, this total sitting at 37. So it's right where you got it, basically. It's right there.
I feel good
19
about that.
points
I feel
first
good
half.
about it.
Listen, there's two things that happen. Brees Hall breaks off the big one. McManus missed one of his 2 field goals, and he missed an extra point. So McManus left 4 points on the board, and Hall was the one that was the only touchdown for the Jets. So I'm kind of looking at this right now. I'm already invested in the under. I don't want to mess with a number that is that much lower, but if I didn't have skin in the game, I might actually bet this under 37 and a half. I might go there with you at this point.
Come on.
I'm not going to do it. No, that'd be stupid.
Come
I got
on.
a much better number than you. I'm not sweating this yet. But very interesting at halftime. Melvin Gordon has the most carries in the Denver backfield with 8. Rippon's 8 of 18, 106. Zach Wilson, 8 of 14 for 69. There's no Brees Hall, but he left 3 for 70 and a touchdown. So that's that game. Kansas City, San Francisco. I just threw up on the television since I didn't throw up on the television. I threw it up on the television. Well, if I got to watch any more Broncos games, I'm going to throw up on my television.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And Jimmy, speaking of throwing up, Jimmy G just threw an interception after a muffed punt by the Kansas City Chiefs. So that saves them, and they get back their offense back on the football field. And we talked about Isaiah Pacheco. He really hasn't done much here, getting an opportunity to start and play more. Just what was he still stuck on 12 yards rushing, right?
Yeah, 12. So, I mean, they're just not running the ball is what it is. He's leading the team in carries, but it's only with 4. So they're throwing the ball a lot today. That's how they think they're going to beat the Niners. And they got 14 points to show for it. It's not bad first half. We also got National Tight Ends day. National Tight Ends Day. Kittle 4 for 64. Kelsey 3 for 53 again. Chiefs backed up inside their own 6-yard line with $1:21 to play. We'll see if anything goes there. Big news from the Seahawks and the Chargers. DK Metcalf out for the day with an ankle. Eckler 4 catches, 50 yards, 16 yards on the ground with a touchdown. And Geno Smith. Listen, if you had Geno Smith's over today, now I'm really concerned about him, Greg, because you've got a Tyler Lockett that is hampered. He's not in any condition to really blow up today. Metcalf's out after a catch of 12 yards. I got to think at this show, it's going to be more Marquise Goodwin, a little bit of Noah Fant, and a whole bunch of Kenneth Walker. I mean, I think that's where that offense has to go now. And the Chargers, who are down, 10 points, 14 points, have just stormed back here. They got the ball with 4:39 to play in the first half. Yeah, I think they're winning this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I got this number at, I think, plus 110, maybe I may have gotten it at 120, something like that, when it was 17-7. And so, yeah, I feel good about where the Chargers are right now. You obviously don't want to have anybody get injured or get hurt, but the Bolts are playing well, and they've got a hampered Seattle Seahawks team kind of right where they want them heading towards halftime.
And then the last game, Texas and the Texans and Raiders. We're in the third already. Houston just had a long drive, Greg. They get a field goal, 13-10. Houston on top. Any thoughts on this game now? As we're halfway through the third, I got in on the total 43, which is a bad number now. No, it's still at 43.5. That doesn't make much sense to me. Be perfectly honest with you, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Right now. The Raiders are charging. Okay. The Raiders are charging. They're right outside the 20. So that's why that thing's at 43.5 right now. I get it. Josh Jacobs, 14 carries, 80 yards. He has just been magnificent. 3 catches for 12 yards. And then on the other side, Davis Mills is thrown for 159 yards. Pierce, 71 rushing, 3 for 20 in the air. And that's all we got. So let's go. Raiders, get the ball in the end zone. Let's clean this up. Really good bet by you, though, getting on the Chargers. I didn't like the juice down that much, but you didn't mind it. And right now it looks like a good bet, Greg.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Bolt up at this point. And then when we talk about the Texans and the Raiders, I got it live over 42.5. So, again, Raiders just keep going. I think I just saw Foster Moreau get a catch, so I like that. He's got to get over 2.5 today. So, good things for the Raiders as they continue to push. And you mentioned it, talking about Devontae Adams. I've constantly asked it about this Raiders offense. maybe he's getting doubled. I haven't watched the all 22 to see exactly how the defense is playing him, but I don't know why they don't get Devontae Adams more involved.
I don't know if they've taken him out of the game and adjusted to it or whatever it is. They do have Derek Stingley. He's a hell of a rookie corner. But unless they're doubling Devontae at this point, that would be the only thing. He just killed him. He absolutely mauled him. He had 4 and 46 like that. And then it's been nothing ever since.
Nothing.
And he hasn't been targeted here on this drive either. And you're right, Foster Moreau, 17 yards, right down to the Houston 4.
We need one more.
We need one more. That's it.
That's it. He's got to get 3 catches
with a minute left. Just completely stretched the field, and another big completion. And who was that? Was that Hardman again? Who was that? Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Did he go over his prop? I forgot. I didn't want to say that I had this one.
MVS.
I was ashamed to bet MVS. And unless that
you should be.
Unless that was 36 yards, and I really can't brag about. There was a 40-yarder. All right, we cashed it.
There you go. Attaboy.
Yeah. All right. Usually there's a bet that I will not tell anybody about. And then once it loses, I'll tell you. Or if it wins, I'll tell you. And then it won. Now, please tell me Josh Jacobs just got in the box. Did that happen?
That would be nice.
Yes. Let's go, Josh Jacobs. All right. So he was the guy everybody was making fun of in the preseason. All the big fantasy analysts. Oh, Brandon Bolden's getting carries ahead of Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is playing a Hall of Fame game, or whatever the hell game it was. Well, Josh Jacobs just shoved it up your butt. 84 yards and a touchdown. He's got another 3 catches today for 12 yards. He is absolute money. Josh Jacobs, man. Here's another guy. Bring all these kids up that could be a top. Josh Jacobs, top 3 or 4 running back right now in fantasy, whether you like it or not, Greg.
Absolutely. No, look, and you didn't even mention Zamir White, the kid who had all the juice coming out of college and the rookie running back. Hey, I even grabbed a couple of shares of him on a couple of my teams. And I have a lot of shares of Josh Jacobs, and I'm super happy that I went back to that well, because I've gone to that well many a times, Holden, and it hasn't been very fruitful. He's gotten injured. He hasn't stayed healthy. I mean, it's just been a litany of things, and they haven't run the ball as effectively as they would have needed to. But he has been fantastic in a year that the running backs haven't been great. There's been a lot of guys banged up. I'm all for it, man. I love it. I'm all in with Josh Jacobs, and I was in on both of these guys coming into this game having big days. Dameon Pierce, Josh Jacobs, as I alluded to earlier, they're sort of mirrors of each other. They're kind of similar type of running backs. They have similar type of body types, and they're both having big games so far today.
All right, Greg, why don't you take the leaderboard here for just a second? I'm going to go do something with my television, and I'll be right back.
All right. Let's keep rolling on with the leaderboard here. And let's go back to the quarterbacks here for a second. And look, we talk a lot about Aaron Rodgers, and I continue to, the last couple of weeks that I've been on here, continue to bring this stat up of Aaron Rodgers not getting to 17 fantasy points. And if they don't change something with the Green Bay Packers offense, if they don't go make a move for Elijah Moore with the New York Jets, who's, obviously a little disgruntled right now, not very happy. If they don't go and bring in OBJ when he's healthy, or they don't do something, the numbers aren't going to get better for Aaron Rodgers. As much as we want them to be better, they don't change their offense a little bit more, do something different, it's not going to be good. But a couple of guys are surprising at the top of the leaderboard here with the quarterbacks. And look, Joe Burrow's no surprise at this point, but Daniel Jones is fantastic. He had a great day against the Jags. And on the flip side, Trevor Lawrence went over 300 yards. And the good thing about Daniel Jones, or the interesting thing about Daniel Jones, is that he just continues to play well without having any real wide receivers to throw to, because you know what he does well? As there's a touchdown to Juju Smith-Schuster right now. And if this penalty holds off right before the half, we're going to have another touchdown here for the Kansas City Chiefs, but we'll see if it's on the Chiefs. But Holden, I was just talking about Daniel Jones and how impressed I've been with him, just not having really much to throw to around him. And he doesn't throw for high yardage, but what he does is he's an athletic guy and he can pick up some yards with his legs. 11 carries, 107 yards and a score today. So, I mean, look, he's dynamic. You talk about Trevor Lawrence, Andy Dalton. We had some surprising guys near the top of the leaderboard today when it comes to the quarterbacks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I kind of feel like Daniel Jones with Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, He's got some younger guys still to throw to. There, you're right though. There isn't like that safety blanket, that one guy who can go out there and just continually target. So that's a little rough to see. Okay, we got the Chiefs here with the Niners, and is that what happened? Mahomes to Juju, and it was called back. So Mahomes hit Juju Smith-Schuster for a touchdown. That was called back. The field goal was attempted, right? And he shanked it? No good.
No good.
No good. Nick Durst, our buddy Nick, who we'll be talking to soon. OBJ can be Jones's safety blanket. We can talk about OBJ sometime. I'm not thinking that OBJ is going to be immediately helpful coming off another injury. Personally, that's just me. I think he's a nice name, but to expect him just to step right back in and have a monster game or a monster season right away, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. Seattle, are you kidding me? Who needs DK Metcalf when you got Marquise Goodwin? A 23-yard touchdown catch from Geno Smith. Shake our heads all we want. What the hell is this about? Marquise Goodwin going all DK Metcalf. DK's out for the game with an ankle. 4 for 67 and 2 touchdowns. You can't stop Geno Smith, I guess, Greg.
Look, I'm still not buying it. It's still in the first half. I'm still on the Chargers. If you can get them at plus money right now, I would still be all over the Chargers.
Still.
I wouldn't do that. I really wouldn't.
I don't care if it's a 9-point game, right? It's only a 9-point game.
I didn't say I wouldn't do that, by the way. I wasn't the person that did
That's
that.
what I'm talking
Here we
about.
go. We're back to plus 135, though.
Hey, there it is.
Should I go in and suffer with Greg?
Come on.
No, I'm not.
On. Team sweat.
I'm not going to do a team sweat with you. Yeah. You know what? Deutsch is right. I'm not doing it. I'm not betting that with you. You're on your own. You're on your own island. Brandon Staley? Brandon Staley? You're relying on him?
I'm relying on Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams.
Let me see what the spread is. All right. Now, Chargers plus 3. You're not getting plus money. You're getting minus 110. That you can interest me in because I know Staley's going to blow this game some way or the other, though. It's going to be a close game. They get lucky and pull it out. They do. Not so sure I want to take that chance. Again, Jets and Broncos at halftime. Not much going on here fantasy-wise with the exception of a knee injury for Breece Hall. He's out. 3 carries, 70 yards, a 62-yard touchdown. He was magnificent before he had to go. Halftime, Chiefs lead the Niners 14-13, missed field goal. Chiefs could have had a 4-point lead going into the half. They didn't. They also had a touchdown called back from Juju Smith-Schuster, but our old boy Kelsey, National Tight Ends Day, 5 for 80. Not bad. Kittle's got 4 for 64. And how about Christian McCaffrey? Do you think he'd come right in and lead this team in touches in the first half? 6 carries, 39 yards, and a catch for 13. 7 touches, more than anybody else on the team.
Yeah, he's been awesome. I was a little skeptical that he'd come right in and be able to do that, but look, I've never played any high-level football at this point, so I don't know what it takes exactly to go in from one system to another and just pick it up and just go out there and be good. But I'm sure Kyle Shanahan just simplified some things, said, hey, look, when you're on the football field, this is kind of what we're going to do. We'll kind of run these similar plays, so you'll just have to be aware of that. And you know, he's come in and he's just done what he does, and talent wins out sometimes. You know, we kind of knew we'd see some Jeff Wilson still as they continue to try to ingratiate CMC, but you know, he's gotten out there and he's played well. Look, he's just a talented dude. When he's healthy, when he's on the field, he's going to perform.
All right. So we got a whole bunch coming up. Nick Durst. I love Nick. He's from the Bettor Network. Had him on one time. I can't remember if he goes to the Giants or the Jets game or maybe both, but he'll remind me, I'm sure. He's Greg. I'm Holden. Durst is next right here on the Bettor Zone on the Bettor Sports Network.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Bettor Zone. Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
JL, I think this is the game everyone's been waiting for, and the moment in this game that we are probably going to have to talk about for at least the next 15 minutes. The Miami Dolphins took down the Buffalo Bills 21-19. and we got to talk about it. The play of the game, the butt punt.
The butt punt.
Punted straight into Trent Sherfield's abyss between his legs is where that
booty
football
patootie.
determined. It was straight up there. It could not have been aimed better up that tuchus. Like, he just went for it. Like, you look at the picture, shout out USA Today photographer that caught that image, because wow, moment of impact, and you can really see just how well aimed between the cheeks that ball was. And Craig said, did y'all see Mark Sanchez's tweet to the punter? I did. Mark Sanchez tweets, stay out of my lane, bro.
That's pretty good.
I love all these self-aware tweets yesterday. Mark Sanchez, Orlovsky, like they're just coming in and like poking fun at themselves.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff right there.
Corey Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media.
Speaking of TV, last night I tried to watch Aaron Judge.
Did you watch the K-Rod broadcast?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Look, I went to ESPN Plus and I'm like, I want to watch this K-Rod thing because they had Roger Clemens and they had Barry Bonds on.
Nice.
At the same time, Bonds brought up when Clemens hit him on his piece of armor. And Clemens was like, oh, it was a strike, man. It was a strike.
No,
like,
Clemens was like, if you wear, and I don't blame Clemens, if you wear that thing, right, that piece of armor, and you on top of the plate like that, target practice. I'm going to see if I can hit that joint.
But dude, it was, and he was. I mean, Clemens, it was a strike. Get off the plate. Is basically what he said.
Exactly. Get off the plate.
Can you imagine the three of them? Like you're Michael Kay, and you're sitting there, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez,
and Roger.
Three guys who should be in the Hall of Fame and are not. Like who should have been like first ballot slam dunk Hall of Famers.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the game.
We should get them on the show. All three of them together on this show.
That'd be cool. Corey Nando and Friends. They're the friends.
They're the friends. I mean, why not, right? They seem like nice guys.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
I just started watching the Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix last night, which I knew a lot.
That looks pretty freaky, man. Is it as frightening and kind of eerie as it looks?
Yeah, it's disturbing. Like, you know, there's no.
You think? He ate people, Ray. It better be disturbing for you.
I know the story. He ate people and murders. I knew, but I didn't know he was drunk all the time. And
well, Ray, I mean, we've all been there. You get the munchies when you're drunk. That would be actually a defense in court. Your Honor, I was drunk the whole time. I was hungry and I needed food and my neighbor was there. Right. What am I supposed to do?
And he had like beer cans all over his place. There was a lot of Miller and Bud. I guess he was not only was he a person of opportunity with the killings, he was a beer drinker of opportunity. Because I don't think you normally do one and the other. You should do one or the other.
I don't want to tell AB or Miller how to do their business. But don't go marketing that Jeffrey Dahmer loved your beer while he was eating kidneys.
Jones will go over center, offset high right. Jones keeps it, pushes into the line. No signal yet.
He's in the end zone.
No signal yet. No signal yet.
Getting up in the end zone.
Touchdown, Giants. Shotgun set for Jones. Two deep safety look. Jones back to throw. Fires one deep down the right side. He's got a receiver. Leaping, trying, 8 for it, and it's caught for the touchdown. Jones threw it up high, and it's caught for the touchdown by the New York Football Giants. And it's Darius Slayton.
Hang out in the Bettor Zone, where you track NFL live action on Bettor Sports Network.
Okay, welcome back. Holden Kushner, Run Pure Sports, Denver City Cast, Bettor Network. We got Greg Larnard, again, sports talk show host in Knoxville. You want to give us the time again, the name of the show?
Yes, it's The Word with G. It's actually on ESPN Chattanooga. I wish I was in Knoxville.
Chattanooga, excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. I know all those kind of these Tennessee cities just kind of run together a little bit sometimes. But yeah, we're in Chattanooga, and we're noon to 2 Eastern Standard Time here on ESPN Chattanooga. And you can find me up on Twitter at Greg Larnard. And of course, getting a chance to hang with you again, Holden. I wasn't expecting a third week, but
yeah, I'm sure you like Chattanooga. You'll be in bigger markets before it's all said and done. Let me catch everybody up on the 4 games right now. And then Nick, not Fred Durst, on air. He's a host. He's a reporter. He's a producer. He's got I'm Right podcast. I already gave him the introduction. We'll get to it in a second. My over 43 is looking good right now. Greg, we had a touchdown. Davis Mills throws his second of the day. Philip Dorsett, are you kidding me? 217 and 2 for Davis Mills. Devontae Adams just had a catch. He's now has 5 for 54. My God, they need to get him involved. 2.25 left. Third quarter, 20-17. Texans on top. We got Seattle and the Chargers, of course. Kenneth Walker, 46 yards and a touchdown. DK Metcalf out for the day with an ankle injury. And Marquise Goodwin, 4 for 67 and 2 touchdowns. He's got 22 fantasy points right there alone. And then Eckler's got 4 for 50 through the air, 16 yards rushing and a touchdown. Chiefs in San Francisco at halftime, 14-13 Kansas City. Christian McCaffrey leading the Niners in touches with 7. He's got 6 for 39 on the ground and a catch for 13. So they're getting him involved in that game. Jets and Broncos, whatever. Breece Hall is out. All right, Nick Durst from the Bettor Network. Welcome back to the show, my friend. Wonderful to have you on. Can you answer the question? Are you a Jets or Giants fan or neither? Because I really don't know.
Look at his shirt. Look at that. Look at my man's shirt. He's the Giants. All Giants.
Congrats, man. How are you feeling about these boys now? This is for real, huh?
I'm a little worried because I'm starting to buy in. I think they're legit now. The NFC is pretty weak. And right now, I don't know how you can't say they're the third best team in the NFC. I mean, if you're looking at record-wise, it's the truth, right? So today, they win. They were dogs. They're getting 3 points. How do you not take the Giants in this game? They're 6-1 this season, 6-1 against the spread. So that was a really, really easy bet there. And the whole game, they're talking about Barkley. Barkley's having a bad day. He's having a tough time getting going. Well, as a fantasy owner, I'll take a rough day from Barkley where I'm going to get 24 carries for 110 rush yards and 4 receptions for 25 yards. And really, he is just leading the offense this season. The best thing Daniel Jones can continue to do is not really throw the ball too much. When he runs, he's elite speed. He's actually been tracked faster than Lamar Jackson, so he's the fastest quarterback in the league. That play action is deadly right now because Barkley's so good, and you don't know what's going to happen when Jones runs. You guys were talking about earlier, the lack of wide receivers, which is crazy. They're doing this without really anybody. Shepard's out for the season, no surprise there. Galladay, he's doing nothing, no surprise there. And Tony, who knows what's up with him? So it doesn't really matter right now. Dable has just been an incredible coach. And if you're betting coach of the year, how do you not take him at this point? And Wink Martindale was an incredible hire. Defensively, he's just been great scheming things. Tremendous.
Nick, you talked about the NFC and how weak it's been. Holden and I last week were talking a lot about the Packers and the Bucks being disappointments, and both disappointed once again this week. And when you look at this NFC, how do you kind of view it? Obviously, you have the Giants there with only one loss, and the Eagles doing what they're doing. The Cowboys won again this week, and the Vikings have been good so far. So what do you make of the NFC as a whole? Is there, any bets you like, maybe futures bets when it comes to coming out of the NFC, whether it be divisions, anything like that?
I really like Vikings coming out of the NFC. I think Kirk Cousins likes that as well. To me, it seems like they are the most complete team. Obviously, they have the loss, but I don't know, something about the Eagles, I just can't say at this point, like they're definitely going to roll through straight to the playoffs. They're due for some sort of regression. They're playing so much better than what we expected for them. Eventually, there'll be a regression to the average means. But I really like the Vikings, and to me, I think this is theirs for the taking. Packers lose again today, 3 straight losses. Commanders with Heineke look a lot better with him at quarterback instead of Wentz. So for me, it looks like Kirk Cousins, this is his chance here. They're going to win the North, I think, pretty easily. And it's going to come down to them and the Eagles for that number 1 seed. 1 seed is going to be getting huge dividends in the playoffs because it's going to be crazy at the link in playoff time. And we've seen how loud it can get in Minneapolis when the Vikings are the home team. So I like the Vikings to come out of the NFC at this point.
All right. I really want to get to know Nick. Your football analysis is great, but I've heard enough for the time being. The next question will be that, but not this one. It's a 2-part question. A, do you have a significant other?
Yes, I am married. Shout out to my wife, Rosalie, who's probably watching right now along with me.
All right, that was my question. I have never dated a woman. My ex-wife suckered me in for 1 season. She watched football with me, but I'd get angry at her because she'd talk. I hate watching football with other people. This is the only way. I got my TVs on. I got a co-host that's 2,000 miles away. The best way to watch football. But you're actually telling me you can watch it with your wife.
No, I definitely can't watch it.
Oh, you can't.
She hates sports. She can't stand it. I guess it's, they say opposites attract. But we were watching the last minute of the Giants game. It took about 7 minutes. She's like, is the clock broken? What the heck's going on here? I don't understand what is going on. She doesn't understand. She thinks it's the stupidest thing. I'm into her hobbies. I watch The Real Housewives with her. I'm addicted. It's like a drug. I'm sucked in. I love all the drama on Bravo, but she just can't get into sports.
I thought you said she was watching right now. She was watching the games now, or she's watching you right now?
She's watching me, hopefully.
Oh, what's up, Miss Durst?
Supportive wife.
It's funny. You guys talk about your significant others. I usually don't like to go out and be around a lot of people while I watch games and things like that, especially on an NFL Sunday. But I got my girlfriend hooked on fantasy football this year, and we got a couple of teams, and she's all in. She's like, we got 3 TVs mounted on the wall. She's like, let's get another one. I got to watch this player in this game. I love it. I just love hanging out with her. She's a big football girl, so it works out for me.
It's good to hear that your significant other is into sports. So obviously one thing here with Bettor Sports Network, usually when there's a game at MetLife Stadium, I am there at the tailgates Sunday mornings for us. You catch my reports. So the last game I was at was the Dolphins-Jets game. It was going around doing a live hit. We had this girl, she was wearing a Mark Sanchez jersey, and she was waving me over. And I finally go over to her, and I have to say, she says, "Go Fins." I said, Fins wearing a Sanchez Jets jersey. She's like, "Yeah, I know, but I want the Chiefs to win. Let's go Cowboys." So obviously,
what?
Crazy stuff. I love talking to these crazy, maybe intoxicated, no laws, we're drinking White Claws at 9 a.m. girls and guys in the tailgates. So continue to tune in for that on Sunday mornings. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so here's the deal. Leave us a little message if you want to talk about Nick's. He's just a gorgeous individual as a person, the inside. If you'd like to say hi to Nick in the chat, by all means, leave him a tender, sweet note. We'd love that.
Yeah, smash that fun button.
That's what I was about to say. The fun button's the best. So yeah, I just hit the fun button. We're not even on the air live. I'll just wake up in the middle of the night. I'll hit the fun button. Makes me feel better. I sleep better. I have sweet dreams. So talk to me about these injuries here. Okay. Here's the big ones from today. DK Metcalf, knee, carted off, done. Breece Hall, knee, out for the rest of the week. That looked really serious. I'm hoping that it's not, but it looked nasty. So for Seattle, you still got a banged up Tyler Lockett. If Metcalf misses time, Marquise Goodwin, huge day today, 2 touchdowns already. And then Michael Carter for the Jets. How comfortable do you feel picking Carter up off a waiver wire, plugging him into your redraft or dynasty league? And what do you want to do with this with Geno now? Possibly with a hobbled Lockett and without Metcalf, at least for this week.
Well, first I'll say that I would certainly pick up Carter because I have a lot of faith in him. He was actually really good last year, so it was a little shocking when they took Hall at running back in the draft so early, but he's been fantastic. He had that big run earlier. So I'd be very confident playing Carter because he was getting touches anyway. And Wilson was very confident with him last year. So LaFleur had him last year. He knows the system. It's not like we're just plugging in some random guy off the practice squad. He'll get his touches. He should still be good. And the Jets are really at their best when they're running the ball. So I think you're safe to get him there. As for Seahawks, I think if you have Metcalf and he's out now and you want to pick up a Seahawks receiver, I would say probably not the best idea to do. We don't know what to expect with this team. Maybe they plug the 12th man in there and, they play wide receiver. It's crazy. But I don't know. Right now, the Geno Smith magic just can't be stopped. So if you are a Geno Smith fantasy owner, which I know a lot of people are as of late, just keep an eye on that moving forward here without Metcalf because I feel that if Metcalf's not out there, they're not don't need to double coverage anymore. And they could drop more guys back in zone coverage. They could blitz a little more, and that could certainly hurt Geno Smith and especially his fantasy value and the Seahawks moving forward.
Nick, what are you sweating today? I don't know how big of a gambler or bettor you are. What are you sweating here in the late window of games? Anything in particular?
Well, for me, I'll jump to Sunday Night Football. And I'm going to sweat out. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers here to win money line. They're getting 7 points, but I think they're going to win money line straight out. They beat the Tampa Bay Bucks last week, who looked horrible this week. Bucks now 3-4. They lose 20. Panthers, they're really missing Bruce Arians and Gronk, and the Panthers are plus 13. Who saw that coming? But yeah, I'm sweating. Got the Steelers here. I think they're going to win this game. Something as of late with this Dolphins has been like a switch. Things are not great, with their injuries and stuff. And I just feel like big win last week for the Steelers. Another week of Pickett practicing. 2 weeks removed from playing the juggernaut that is the Buffalo Bills. And I like the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight to win this game.
I got a ton of props from that game that I'm on. If you want them, I'll give them. If not, don't worry about it. We did cash a show bet. I know that Greg was not in on this, but 45 minutes ago, placed an over 43 on the Texans Raiders. That game has gone over. It is 24-20.
I'm in on it. What do you mean?
Did you bet it?
42.5.
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. You bet it? I didn't know you tailed on that one. Beautiful. Show bet cashes. Like that. Didn't even take long today. I like that. A couple other things real quick. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with a 16-yard run that sets up a touchdown. 21-13 Chiefs. Total there is 600 now. I wouldn't bother betting the over or the under. It's absolutely out of control. The Jets and Broncos living down to its reputation. No scoring through the first 7 minutes of the second half. 10-9 is still the score. Breece Hall was injured. Guess the total, gentlemen. Nick Durst, what is the total right now for the Broncos and Jets? 10-9, 8 minutes to go in the third.
27.5.
What do you got here, Greg?
I'll say 31.5.
Yeah, you should bet over, Durst. You're not even close, dude. I might not even ask you again about that. How's that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel fine because
you're too nice to bust your balls. That's the problem, Nick. I just want
to. Once Russell went out, I lost interest in this game. I wanted to see who was the better Wilson. I think it's Zach.
Don't touch this game. It's 33.5. That's what it is. Greg, you got that 37.5. You got to be feeling good right now. I'm at 42.5. Yep. Under 2.5 touchdowns. Under 24.5 both teams. Under 21.5 both teams. Let's go. Keep stinking up the joint. We were also talking about the loser board, Nick. We're here, 20 minutes in, almost 20 minutes into the hour. We haven't talked about the loser board. Me and Greg, can't stand A.J. Dillon. Mark Andrews gave us a donut today. Who's on the loser board for you? Give us 2 or 3 names.
Well, to me, I think the loser board, there's so many options, but I think I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson of the Jets. A lot of people were saying you got to pick him up now. A couple of weeks now with Zach. Got to get him in there. Not doing much right now for the Jets. And he's supposed to be the focal point. We heard all week. Now Elijah Moore's unhappy. He wants out. He doesn't want to win, so he wants to get traded. Expect more catches for Garrett Wilson. So far hasn't played out. What's funny about that situation is a few weeks back, and I'm at MetLife, I'm talking to a fan. He's wearing Elijah Moore Ole Miss shirt. And I said, why the Ole Miss jersey? He said, because I'm tired of me getting jerseys and these players leaving the next season. So at least this one won't go bad. And lo and behold, he is going to leave again. No surprise there. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a future loser here, perhaps. I think tomorrow night, if the Patriots play Mac Jones, they're making a huge mistake if he's ready to go. Bailey Zappi is zapping the ball all over the field. They can't stop winning with this guy. He's looked incredible. He saved their season. I think Zappi, there's definitely some QB controversy there. I'd love to see him continue to play until he plays poorly. Patriots favored by 7.5 tomorrow against the Bears, who can't get out of their own way offensively. So if Zappi starts, should be bet with the Patriots, but I think if Mac Jones is coming back tomorrow, and right now we don't know, and we're not going to know till game time. That's Belichick's MO. It could be dicey there. I think Mac Jones could end up on the loser board if he plays quarterback tomorrow.
All right, you mentioned Elijah Moore, Nick, and look, I've talked about the Packers, and there's other teams that need a wide receiver across the National Football League. The Rams have talked about OBJ, maybe adding somebody. We saw the Cardinals just pick up Robbie Anderson. Where do you think a good fit would be for Elijah Moore if he were to be moved?
Well, I think the Jets fleeced the Seahawks once before, so why not try to move Elijah Moore to the Seahawks if Metcalf is out? I think he'd be a good fit there. I also think the Chargers could definitely use a wide receiver, perhaps, to kind of help Williams there. And you mentioned it, the Rams, they definitely need some wide receiver help. They need some sort of spark. So that would be an obvious location. I don't know if they don't have anything to give up, though. The Rams traded all their draft picks. So unless the Jets want like a 7th-round pick 3 years from now, they're not going to get anything. Maybe the Cardinals want to look to get another option there for Kyler Murray. But the Rams, I mean, they're in trouble in the fact that they have no cap. They can't move for anybody. So unless they sign Odell Beckham Jr., who doesn't seem too happy with them, it could bite them in the playoffs. I heard you guys earlier, Holden was saying Beckham's not going to come in and make an immediate impact. Probably not. But I think long-term, if you're a team that you think is going to be in the playoffs, that's a guy you want to have in the playoffs. I could definitely see the Chiefs or the Bills signing him and just being like, take it easy, relax. We know we're going to the playoffs and coasting. And then come playoff time, pencil him in, and he could make an impact.
Nick, thoughts on Christian McCaffrey going forward here? I'll give mine since I really haven't yet. I think that he's not going to get the workload that he had when he was in Carolina, but I still think he's an RB1. Let's just see today. He's got 8 touches. He leads everybody in touches so far this afternoon, which is pretty interesting with just 8. I think going forward, we're talking 15 to 18 touches a week for CMC and a better offense that will probably afford him some bigger holes. I'd take him down a peg. So instead of being a top 2 or 3 running back in fantasy, I think now he's a top 6 or 7 at best or at worst.
Yeah.
Where are you on CMC going?
I would agree with you there. I don't think he's in the top tier anymore. Like the top tier is Barkley, Cook, Kamara. They're up there with Taylor. And then below that, I think it's where you're going to put Christian McCaffrey. So you're still getting a lot of good progress out of him. If you drafted him first overall this season, well, that's probably not the expectations you should have moving forward here with this system. But the 49ers here certainly in a better spot with a better quarterback for him, Garoppolo. He's, steady Eddie there. Big break for the 49ers and Shanahan and Lynch's future by having Lance get hurt this year, because now they could actually contend for a championship again with Garoppolo. But yeah, I think McCaffrey, he'll still be pretty solid. Use him probably a lot more in the passing game. I feel like Shanahan is very much into throwing the short routes to the running backs. So still counts, obviously, if you're a fantasy, but I think he's still going to be around like the top 6 to 9 running backs on a weekly basis. But if you drafted him first, you're out of luck because he's not going to be that top running back.
All right, Nick, I have
you got one more, Greg, and then we'll get him out of here.
I got one more. It's a non-sports related one, just kind of a fun one to get you out of here with. I figured we'd let you go here in a minute, but I see on your Twitter bio, you say sports and food enthusiast. So if you had to pick one meal to eat the rest of your life, calories don't count, you're not going to get fat, any of that stuff, your favorite meal would be what?
Yeah, so obviously the cheat answer to that is I want to eat a buffet the rest of my life. Check out my Instagram.
No. Give me a meal. Come on.
Stuff. I had a great review at the Caesars Bacchanal Palace week, so check that out. But I would have to go with pizza. I love pizza, and I'm not really, there's so many varieties that you can go with. But if you have to go with one type, I'm going with regular cheese pizza. It's the classic. I don't want pepperoni on my pizza. I don't want pineapple. Keep your anchovies, meat lover's pie, just plain classic cheese slice. I'm in New York. We got the best pizza here.
True.
And that's the way to go. And if I don't, no repercussions, don't have to worry about weight gain or anything or exercise, that is where I'm going to go. How about you guys?
I'll tell you what I ate for dinner last night. I had a half gallon of Breyer's ice cream and I went to bed.
Nice. What flavor?
I'm not even kidding. I'm just disgusting. I feel so gross today. I work out, and then I do something like that, and I just feel disgusting. But yeah, last night I had a half a gallon of the old Briars. I had the Neapolitan because my kids picked it out. They didn't have any. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I've been eating well all week. I don't feel good today. I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel good.
What do you guys think the AFC Player of the Week, Joe Burrow, is going to eat tonight? 481 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 20 rushing touchdown run. I mean, this guy is going to eat like a king. I mean, he's got so much swag.
Yeah.
I want to know how he's going to celebrate.
Chili.
He's got a filet mignon and a cigar for that win LSU had, and all the fans storming the field yesterday at against Ole Miss.
All right, my friend. Tell everybody where they can find you. Then we're going to get out of here and come back with a leaderboard. What do you got,
All
Nick?
right. Find me on Twitter at Nick_Durst, on Instagram at Nick's Food and Stuff, and check out my podcast, the You Know I'm Right podcast at YKIR Podcast, available everywhere you get your podcast. Thanks, fellas. It's been great. A lot of fun.
You got it, Mr. Durst. Take care of yourself. He's Greg.
Thanks for hanging out, brother.
I'm Holden. Leaderboard coming up next right here. We'll catch you up on the games going on. Plus, we got a pretty cool giveaway coming up I want to tell you about. Not on this show, but I got to tell you about it. Leave us a comment. If you're sweating anything out right now, if you're upset, if you're happy, you can give us a call. Hit the fun button, the Bettor Zone on the Bettor Network.
Bettor Zone.
Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Bettor Sports Network.
By the way, if you are a commissioner out there, if someone does not pay, that's on you at the end of the day. It sucks. That's why you have to get the money early, because if they don't pay, it's on you. You don't change the prize. A winner shouldn't be impacted because unfortunately you messed up as commissioner. And I've been caught with this before. I've made this mistake. It sucks, and I had to go out of pocket for it. You learn that maybe some of your friends should not be in that league. But Roan, we see it all the time with commissioner issues, and I can't stress it enough that when it comes down to league payment, it's on the commissioner if they don't have everybody's entry fee and someone decides to ghost them.
Yeah, I had to collect 36 entry fees this year. All of them were collected except one. And it was one of my friends who said he was going to pay the second. I forgot to remind him. He might even be listening, but I know he's going to pay. If not, I know where he lives. But nah, he'll pay. But yeah, I mean,
Big Brother Adam Rodas over here.
And even the guy that I've talked about before that usually always pays me at the end, he actually paid on time this time. He usually is like, I'll pay you on Friday, and then it doesn't come, and then it's 4 months later. And he always winds up paying. That's why I don't really get upset. But you've seen my emails, and I don't play around. Like, this is the date. This is the date. You get it in by then. And I always, too, I'm like, the draft order will be determined when everyone pays. Right. So don't hit me up about the draft order. Once everyone pays, then the draft order will be done. And anyone who's been in this league, now Festy can't attest to this because he's never won money in my league, but the people who do win, they get it right away. Usually the next day or two. Just make sure the scoring, especially with football, no scoring changes, as long as it's not like a point victory, half a point, and then they'll get the money right away.
What about 2 points?
Yeah, I mean, wait it out just in case something crazy happens. I guess I don't wait till Thursday when the official scoring happens.
Yeah, man. I mean, a championship that I was in years ago got reversed, and I ended up winning on a Thursday stat correction.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. You hope it doesn't come down to that. If you're on the better end of that, it's great. But man, imagine thinking you won, you got the money, and then it changes. That's tough.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
In motion guard without a slot to the right side. The snap, play action fake dropping as Brady wants to throw off. Throws it deep downfield, got a wide open. It's caught ball, juggled, and incomplete. Mike Evans frustrated. He had it at his fingertips. It would have been a touchdown. Yeah. Nobody near him. The defensive back fell down.
To work hard, you have to have discipline, commitment, mental and physical toughness. These are all character traits, and we have a lot of great guys in the locker room. So we're going to go in tomorrow morning. We've got a short week. We've got to work hard to try to fix it.
Hang out in the Bettor Zone for a better NFL game day experience.
Greg.
Well, that was obviously a Mike Evans drop touchdown, and Tampa Bay Brady. That was the Bucks radio network. We got some technical difficulties going on with Holden's audio, but we're back here on the Better Zone. Greg Launard, Holden Kushner. We're holding it down with you here on this Sunday afternoon and hanging out during the late games and just trying to make a better environment for you guys as we can kind of, Holden talked about it earlier, just not really loving to be around a lot of different people watching football. So if you're just kind of one of those people that are just like to just hang out by yourself and just watch the games and watch football, I mean, come hang out with us. We're far enough away. We're not going to, talk your ear off. But if you want to join our conversation, you can feel free to jump in on the comments section. You can give us a call right here on the Better Zone and tell us what you're sweating, what bet you're going with. If there's anything that you like here live, we got a couple of games going on. The Los Angeles Chargers are on the move as they just opened up the second half. And Holden and I were talking about it earlier. I like the Chargers still down 10, even in starting the second half, down 10. You get them at plus money. I haven't looked at it in a minute here, but you can get them plus 140. I got them in the second quarter, I believe, and they were plus money at about plus 120, and I took them. So I'm all in on that. Now the ball just went back over to Seattle. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Didn't see it, but
you got me, buddy.
Back with us. There he is.
Yeah, you got me.
I got you,
and you can hear me. Good. That's what matters. I don't know what you're talking about right there, but I'll tell you this much: Kamala came on last week, and he was telling us how Tom Brady stunk, and today I can't defend him. I mean, he was missing wide open throws. He looked almost defeated. Like you usually see a fiery Tom Brady. Everybody maybe heard from people where he was screaming at his offensive line, but Tom Brady and this Bucs team's in a lot of trouble. But I don't think Tom Brady's the biggest problem with this team, Greg. I think the biggest problem with this team is Todd Bowles. They look undisciplined. They look like they don't have a plan. And then today also, Mike Evans dropped it would have been at least a 70-yard touchdown, right? Yeah. Just in and out of it. That changed the whole game. So Brady did have a really nice throw there. The day could have been different. They didn't get a running game going at all. They ran 16 times. They barely had 50 yards. They didn't have 50 yards. This is bad. This is just a bad football team right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with Bowles and a lot of it has to do with Brady. I still am confident that Brady could turn it around, but they just look disjointed and disorganized.
Yeah, I was wondering about Todd Bowles. I was wondering about Byron Leftwich. I didn't get a chance to really watch a lot of that game. I got to watch the Titans. I got to watch the Falcons. Obviously, I'm a Packers guy, so I had that on the TV as well. And then I just had the red zone running. And so I saw kind of them jumping in and out of that game. I don't know how much you got a chance to watch. Was the offense just anemic, or what was going on there with the Bucs? They just weren't able to move the football that much at all.
Well, Evans dropped a couple of balls, first of all. He got targeted 15 times. Godwin got targeted 13 times. Evans 9 for 96. Godwin 7 for 43. Ultimately, they had a couple of big plays too. Otten had the 35-yard catch. When Braid's out, he's a fantasy option, by the way. But it's just everything offensively. Defensively, they weren't great either. They gave up a big catch and run to Chuba Hubbard. They gave up a touchdown to Hubbard. They got gashed everywhere. It's a top to bottom failure. But I think if I had to blame right now, I blame Bowles 1 and Brady 2. And I think most people would blame Brady more. I just don't think Todd Bowles is a good head coach. I think they got to bring Arians back, and I don't think they will.
No,
I'm
they're
serious
not bringing
too.
Arians back. They're not bringing Arians back at this point. I believe you. I tend to agree with you at that point. It seemed like this team ran better with Bruce Arians at the helm. And Todd Bowles, I know he's getting another shot here, and I know a lot of people around that organization have talked about how they like him and how he's a good dude, good coach. They're happy they got another opportunity. But you're right. They don't look disciplined at all. And, speaking from experience, and, I saw that game week 1 with the Packers and the Vikings where Christian Watkins dropped that would-be touchdown in the very first play of the season, just changed the whole complexion of the game. And that's exactly what happened again to the Bucs in this one.
All right, let's get to the leaderboard here because we got a new leader on the leaderboard. When it's all said and done, Josh Jacobs is going to be the leading point scorer, maybe for the whole slate. He might beat out Joe Burrow. Jacobs is sitting at 143 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 catches for 12 yards, 36.5 points. This was a great matchup for a guy that has turned out to be superb in his walk year. Again, he has been all their offense. Devontae Adams has actually gotten targeted in the second half, believe it or not. He's got 8 catches on 9 targets for 95 yards. This thing blew through the over. It's 31-20 right now, and I'm just hoping Davis Mills continues to get going. I got his passing prop at over 232.5. He's sitting at 229. There's still 6 minutes to play. We'll see if he can get to that one. Other things, other guys on the leaderboard. So now Aaron Jones is second at 28.6. Quarterback, it's still all about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, 39 fantasy points today, 481, 3 touchdowns, no picks, ran for 20 yards, scored a touchdown. Daniel Jones second at 28. Then you got Dalton, Lawrence, and Patrick Mahomes is sitting at number 5 right now. Greg, Mahomes this afternoon, 287, 2 touchdowns, an interception. He hasn't run. He hasn't been asked to do too much today either. And his team, they just scored again, huh? Yep,
Yeah,
there you
did.
go.
He threw a touchdown.
Justin Watson from Patrick Mahomes.
Who?
Justin Watson.
Not at all fantasy relevant.
No. Him and Fortson. Is it Jody Fortson? I think is his name too. There's just a couple of guys he throws to that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's like they had Blake Bell for a little while there, one of their other tight ends. He would kind of come into the mix every once in a while. You mentioned Patrick Mahomes not running the football. I took his rushing prop over in this game. Thought maybe they have a good run defense for San Francisco. He'd have to maneuver around a little bit, have to play a little hero ball, but he hasn't even looked to run the football at all in this game.
No. Jerry Jeudy's going bananas. As far as targets go, he's got 9 targets, 5 catches, 89 yards. Ripping through an interception. So the Jets have it now. They're kind of deep. What are they at the Denver 28-yard line? So they're going to put up some more points here. I am feeling good. You should be feeling good at under 37.5.
Yep.
I'm feeling great under 42.5, under 24 each team, under 21.5 each team. You know, everything that I could think of is going just about according to plan. And honestly, Breece Hall getting injured, and I'm not rooting for the injury. Actually, I love this kid. I loved him at Iowa State too. But I mean, that really killed this Jets offense. He's everything for this offense. Zach Wilson's hot garbage. 11 of 20, 84 yards. You know what? And I'm not kidding. Joe Flacco is the better quarterback. If I've looked at these two this year, there's no way Joe Flacco is going to get starts. But I think, first of all, I think Denver's going to win this game. I want to see if they go down by 4 here. If they go down by 4, it might be an uphill climb. But the Jets have beaten up backup quarterbacks this whole time. Zach Wilson hasn't been tested. Wait till this guy falls behind and go look. He'll be throwing double interceptions a game. Not a Zach Wilson guy.
How confident are you in Denver winning this game? Because they're plus 210 right now.
I'd rather have them cover, I guess.
Plus 3.5.
Yeah, that might be a good play. Problem is they're going to be down by 4 here in a second.
Yeah.
Why am I quintuple dipping into a game with freaking Brett Rippon?
I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I've got my under. You and I have our unders. We're set.
Let's just ride. I'm feeling good about that game. Geno Smith, 178, 2 touchdowns, an interception. Kenny Walker, 78 and a touchdown on the ground. Marquise Goodwin, 67 yards off 4 catches and 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf left this game early with an ankle injury, and Austin Eckler is going absolutely bananas at the running back position. We were talking about Josh Jacobs now at the 36.5 half PPR points. And then there's Eckler, who is 4th on the day at 23.1. He's got just 18 yards rushing, but 8 catches off 8 targets, 73 yards. He fumbled. He does have a rushing touchdown as well. So he's having a good day. And then I got to talk about tight ends on National Tight End Day. We got Kelsey and Kittle going head-to-head. The leading tight end this week, Juwan Johnson on Thursday with 20 points. Kelsey's number 2. 6 catches, 6 targets for 100, 15.8. And Joku, 14 points. Then Hayden Hurst and Evan Engram. Kate Otten and George Kittle's at 10.4. Why don't you tell me something? Talk to me. give me some thoughts on the games that are going on right now, since I just ran the leaderboard down and we got 4 games of progress still.
Yeah, I'll give you a little reprieve there. That was a lot of talking for you. I know you're a guy that likes to talk. And,
I like to listen.
You also do like to listen. I'll say this, that it's going to be difficult for the 49ers to get back into this football game. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a guy that's going to be striking any fear in anybody's heart throwing the football. So, look, I need a little bit more Deebo Samuel here in terms of one of my parlays. So I'm kind of glad the game script is going to be what it is. So they're going to have to be throwing the football here, and he's going to look for probably a lot of Kittle, a lot of Ayuk, a lot of Deebo Samuel, or at least he should. So that's something I'm watching in this game right now between the Chiefs and the 49ers. And they've been good in terms of, in the first half, but the last a couple of possessions, they haven't been very good. The Jets are about to line up for a field goal. I don't know if you may be ahead of me. They may have made it already, but
I made it.
They did. Okay. Davis.
Now
Mills
I definitely don't want any part of this game.
No.
Now I basically just want to bet another Brett Rippon interception, but I'm not going to do that either. I'm just going to slap my hand. Just stop it. You're going to make money.
Stop it, Holden. Enough.
Stop it.
Enough. Yeah. So look, there's not much that's exciting about that game. We're just excited for the under in that one.
Yeah.
You got a good game script here for Davis Mills, who stayed alive on a long third down, and he never mind. He just got picked off. So not good stuff for you on that one, but they'll still have more times because the Raiders are going to take that back to the end zone. So he'll get right back on the football field at the very least. That's fine. You're good. You're good on that one.
We're all good. Yeah. We don't care. You know what the best part of this is? What's the score now? 38-20.
38-20.
And Dameon Pierce is still going to get 100 yards rushing. He's at 20 for 92. I'm telling you, everybody that was making fun, we're not drafting this guy in the first or second round. Dameon Pierce, he's a 4th rounder. Well, he's proving you wrong. There's just something to be said for a guy with above average talents that's going to touch the ball at least 20 times a game. He had a bad week 1. I get it. Lovey came out and apologized, and Lovey since then has made good on his promise to give the guy 20 touches a game.
I was gonna say it wasn't even the kid's fault. It was on the game script. They were just getting Rex Burkhead more involved in it. Look, Rex Burkhead, give him credit. He's a running back that stayed around. He's bounced around the league a bunch of different places. He's made a little bit of a name for himself. Good for him, but he's not Dameon Pierce. And yeah, he's a guy that I targeted heavily. I said, let's listen to this guy. They loved him in the preseason. They had a somewhat proven veteran in there in Marlon Mack. Now, I don't know how proven he was coming off that injury because he hasn't really been able to stick anywhere. I was kind of surprised about that, but Dameon Pierce just blew him out of the water, and he's been awesome ever since then. And I know you said you got him on all 3 of your teams. I have a bunch of stock on him, and I was real high on him coming into this game. Him and Josh Jacobs both having nice games, and they've both paid off.
No question. So again, Breece Hall, the big injury with DK Metcalf. DK's got an ankle. He left early. Breece Hall, after breaking off a 62-yard touchdown run moments later, he left with a knee injury. Those are the 2 big ones that I'm seeing right now. Some other big stories. Gus the Bus scores 2 touchdowns, comes back today, 16 carries, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lamar's hip was bothering him. He still went over his rushing prop. This guy is absolutely amazing. Really is sensational here. David Njoku was wearing a walking boot. You know how much I love Njoku. Had 7 catches for 77 yards today. Just didn't work out for him. Then he left. And it's all about Travis Etienne right now. The James Robinson, it's over. I mean, the guy had one target.
James Robinson?
Huh?
What happened to James Robinson?
They realized that Travis Etienne is just amazing. It's the same. This is the same thing with Breece Hall. It's like, all right, we're going to go into the season with a timeshare. And then the young guy, even though Carter's in his 2nd year and Robinson's in his 3rd year, maybe his 4th, they're just better talents. They're just 1st-round talents. And these 2 other guys are not.
But it's not like Michael Carter was bad. I mean, I'm sorry. No. It wasn't like James Robinson was bad. He was running the football effectively.
He was.
So I'm a little surprised to see such a drastic shift this week. Now, look, I was on ETN. I really liked him coming into the season. Unfortunately, I was only able to get 1 share of him. And some people had told me, look, it seems to be the James Robinson show. We're kind of a little bit more on him instead of But I was kind of like, let's just relax. Let's have some patience with him. And it paid off in a big way today. It was awesome. What did he put up? 19 fantasy points. Like, he was really good. And he's a guy that does a lot of different things. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, although he didn't do that much today. But running the football wise, dude's explosive, and even lost a fumble. If he didn't lose that fumble, he would have had over 20 fantasy points.
Yeah, no question about it.
He's been
Let's
great.
take a break here. I'm going to tell people, though, about a cool giveaway we got coming up on the Bettor Sports Network. We're giving away more cool prizes. You can win authentic Dallas Cowboys Alvin Harper signed jersey, or an authentic San Francisco 49ers John Taylor signed jersey. I just remember John Taylor. I love John Taylor. Help us settle the debate. Which NFL franchise is better, Dallas or San Francisco? Tweet using the hashtag Corey's Cowboys, or Henry's 49ers. Okay? Tag at Bettor Network. So at Bettor Network on Twitter or Instagram, wherever the hell it is. And it's on Twitter where we're giving it away. If you want the Alvin Harper jersey, hashtag Corey's Cowboys. You want the Niners jersey with John Taylor? Hashtag Henry's 49ers. We'll select the most passionate fans from both sides, announce the winners on Monday's edition of Corey, Nando, and Friends at 3 o'clock Eastern time on the Bettor Sports Network. If you want to, drop us a thought here in the chat. Anybody know? San Francisco or Dallas? What's the better organization in the National Football League? I know Dallas gets all the hype because they're Dallas. They still think they're America's team, though they're not. It's the Niners. He's Greg. I'm Holden. Bettor Network. We'll be back. Catch you up on all the action right now on the Bettor Zone.
I won!
Bettor Zone.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
First rule in negotiating, you got to have something to bargain with.
I feel like when it comes to trading in fantasy sports, there's too much emphasis and focus on getting the best player in the deal. It does not work like that. If you could get a player that secures you some depth, fills a hole, then you win. More than one person in a trade can win. But people just obsess, and then bad offers come where it's totally stacked. Like those crappy offers, Ron, where yeah, you're getting the best player in the deal, but you're offering 5 other fringe players, thinking that combined they make up for that. Who deals with that crap? I see those trades, Ron, and when I'm seeing a 3-for-1, 4-for-1, 4-for-2, you know that you're getting someone's leftovers at this point for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, usually they're trying to give you a bunch of players to make it seem like they're giving you surplus and quantity instead of quality. So, got to be careful with that. And, you know, you could technically lose a deal on paper, but it helps your team improve. And that's always what you're trying to do. Everyone's looking to tell everyone, oh, look what I did. I ripped this guy off. It's about improving your team. You know, if you have two really good quarterbacks, it's hard to trade a quarterback. Now, what I would do is if I somehow made a foolish mistake of drafting 2 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds, or even the first 7 rounds, what I've seen many people do, and they're 2 good ones, is I look and be like, okay, does the Dak Prescott manager have a backup? Maybe he doesn't. Then I do all I can to trade. Now, you're probably not going to get proper return, because if that guy with Prescott is smart, he'd be like, well, why am I going to trade a receiver or running back? I can just go to the waiver wire, pick up Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, whoever it is. So that's the reason why that's a situation where you might lose the deal, but you're holding on to a guy that you can't really start most weeks. So you might as well make the deal. So you technically might be losing, thinking like, wow, I'm trading a QB1, but it's not doing much good for you on the bench. And if you're like, well, I'm just keeping this guy in case Josh Allen gets hurt, well, you're playing scared, and that's not a way to win.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Snap on 1st and goal. Pitch to Jacobs, racing left. Breaks a tackle. Leads the ball forward. Touchdown Raiders!
This is the area of field where Hunter Renfrow usually shines, and they're going to double cover him.
He's in the slot to the right. Instead, it's a handoff into the belly of Jacobs. Bounces off a defender at the 2 and in the end zone. Touchdown Raiders! Delayed handoff to Jacobs. Huge hole up the middle, 10. Cut to inside 5. Touchdown Jacobs! The hat trick in the end zone. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the day.
Hang out. in the Bettor Zone for a better NFL game day experience.
We're having a great game day experience. I love doing this show. I'm Holden Kushner alongside Greg Larnard, just watching all the games this week, having a good time. That was the Raiders Radio Network. For those of you that are not caught up on what's going on with the Raiders, they are spanking the Texans 38-20. Couple minutes left in this game. Jacobs, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 3 catches, 12 yards. He is the leading points getter in fantasy football that is not a quarterback. He's actually really close to passing Burrow, too. Burrow's at 39.24. Jacobs is at 36.5. I don't think he'll get there, but boy, that's amazing. Hey, before we left, Greg, Niners or Cowboys? Talk to me here. And then we got to talk Dak. Niners?
Niners, no doubt. The Cowboys haven't been relevant. I know their fans think they're relevant, all times and every single year, but a team that hasn't made the NFC Championship since 1995, don't even talk to me. It's not even close.
I'm
a Packers fan. I hate the 49ers.
I'm with you. Seriously. It's just, the Cowboys have not been good for 30 years, almost 30 years now. You would have asked me this in like 1995. Of course, it's the Cowboys, but doesn't matter now. And today, Dak Prescott came back, and you saw Greg holding his arms up. Is that Garoppolo to Kittle?
That is Garoppolo to Kittle on National Tight Ends Day. You got it, bro.
National Tight Ends Day. Kittle gets in the box. And I'm with you. These Niners, this is one of the great organizations out there. Kittle, 6 for 98 and a touchdown. So Jorge Kittle is back. He's back in business, folks. McCaffrey, 7 for 39 yards on the ground, 2 for 24 in the air. Ayuk with 10 targets. It's 2 weeks in a row now. He's getting peppered. Anyways, speaking of the Cowboys, I don't know how much of that game you watched today. I saw a little bit of it. Amon-Ra St. Brown left with concussion protocol. I think if this was before Tua, I'm not so sure. He would have been out for the game. He was stumbling a little bit. I think he could have gotten back in there, but they're playing it safe now. Speaking of playing it safe, Dak threw it 25 times, 19 to 25, 207 and a touchdown. Tony Pollard was great, running for 83 yards. CeeDee Lamb, mediocre, ran a couple bad routes. I watched a bit of this game, 4 catches, 70 yards. And outside of that, it was pretty blah. It was all about the Cowboys defense at this point. And it's nice to see everybody realizing Jared Goff coming back down to earth. We don't play this guy unless he's playing at home, even though this was indoors. So any thoughts on the Cowboys going forward? At 5-2, the NFC East has turned into the best league or the best division in the National Football League.
It's wild. It's really wild.
Yeah.
Nobody really saw that coming in terms of the NFC least, which used to be the NFC least. Now it's the NFC most, and the East is NFC beast. I guess maybe that would be apropos.
Sure.
But look, a lot of teams are playing well. The Cowboys have a ferocious defense. Their offense just does kind of just enough with Zeke and Tony Pollard there in the backfield. They make a good running back tandem. And look, you mentioned CeeDee Lamb. Dude runs some bad routes. He drops some balls that he shouldn't drop. He'll catch some passes that a lot of the population probably wouldn't catch otherwise. But I wanted to ask you about CeeDee Lamb. Do you feel like, I have a feeling like this guy's sort of overrated here a little bit fantasy wise. He hasn't really had a ton of big blow up days. Like, you can't talk about CeeDee Lamb in the same breath as Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Devontae Adams. Like, he's not that level of wide receiver yet. To me, he's not a WR1 like in a fantasy roster.
The only reason I don't buy into that is because he had Cooper Rush. Now that we have Dak back, and I think Dak only threw 25 times. Wait till he drops back 36, 38 times, 40 times a game. Then we're going to start seeing CeeDee Lamb with 10 targets a game instead of 6. I'm not ready to say he's not a wide receiver 1 yet, Greg, because I want to see him with Dak. I want to see him as the number 1 with Dak. I do think that there's a path there for him to be a wide receiver 1. Top 5, probably not.
I'm not saying there's not a path. I see a path. He's a very talented young man, but as it sits right now, and you're right, you make a good point about Cooper Rush was there, and that's not the most prolific of a passer. Once Dak gets back and he gets a little bit healthier and they kind of let him loose a little bit more, maybe he will be the guy. And Amari Cooper was there the last couple of years and kind of had to share some looks and some targets, but he's the guy. And I'm curious to see if he can be the guy, that number 1 wide receiver that we can talk about in the same conversations as Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, even Devontae Adams, like those level of wide receivers. Can we talk about him in that vein?
I don't think we'll talk about him as a top 5. I do think he's a 7 through 10 guy, though.
Okay.
And I think with the right matchup, he could be a league winner in the end. Depends on what Dallas needs to do. A lot of these guys can be, but I don't know if you're down on CeeDee Lamb. I'm higher on him than you are, just because I have not seen him with a healthy deck. Next week, I think we'll learn a little bit more. 2 weeks from now, 2 games from now, that's when we'll start finding out about CeeDee Lamb's future. I'm just not ready to write that book yet. I am ready to write the book on the Denver Broncos season being one of the biggest busts in the history of the National Football League. I mean, listen, I'm out here in Denver. I host the Denver City Cast on the Bet Rivers podcast network. And I got sold hope all off season. They had this awesome new head coach in Nathaniel Hackett. Aaron Rodgers loved the guy, highly recommended him. Russell Wilson, they just didn't let him cook. It's not his fault he wasn't good in Seattle. Russ has been horrible. He's not playing today. The defense is completely elite, but they just dropped an interception. They're penalized more than any other team in the National Football League. Their head coach is a dolt. I mean, literally has no idea what he's doing. He handed off his coaching duties to a man in the booth who was retired so that he could be the offensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator of the offense that scores the least points in the National Football League. And enough with Russell Wilson. You know what would be cute? If it would be really cute if for Russell Wilson to be saying he has Wolverine blood and he's riding and Subway commercials. It'd be really cool if they were winning and he was a good quarterback, but he stinks. And I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. This is a debacle here. They're about to drop to 2-5 on the season. There's no hope for the playoffs. The only thing you don't want them doing is finishing, one of the bottom 5 or 6 teams in the league because their first round pick goes to Seattle.
Yeah, it's bad there in Denver, man. I feel for you. This is a tough team to cover right now.
I have never been sold a bill of goods that we're going to have here and then seen what the product has been on the other side. I mean, pardon my friend, it is horse shit. This team is impossible to watch. I have to watch every single one of these games. Dude, they scored 9 points today. I get it. It's a backup quarterback. 9 points. They're averaging 15 points a game. It's amazing how bad. And I'm telling you right now, and I thought this when he was hired, but I wasn't too I was like, maybe this is a theory. I really think they hired Hackett because he was the guy that was going to get them Aaron Rodgers. And it fell through. And instead of getting Aaron Rodgers, who was his offensive coordinator, they got Russell Wilson. And it ain't working out.
Well, look, they agree or disagree that they needed to do something at the quarterback position. Yes. Okay, so they did what they tried. They said, hey, look, if we're not getting Aaron Rodgers, at least we're getting a guy who has never gotten an MVP vote. He's kind of been a bit overrated, but he is a good player. He's a good quarterback. He's a better than average quarterback. I'm not putting him in that elite tier by any means, but he's a better than average quarterback. And in that division, you needed a quarterback to at least have yourself a chance, especially with that defense. You figured going into the season that with Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton and KJ Hamler and Jerry Jeudy and Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, like they had enough there that all Russ had to do was not screw it up. The same thing with Nathaniel Hackett as the new head coach. I hadn't really got an opportunity to watch and sit and consume it like you do, but being there in Denver and covering them every single week. But the offense just doesn't look good with Hackett. It looked so good when he was running it with the Packers and you had Devontae Adams and you had the running backs that they had and you have Aaron Rodgers running it, but it's a little different when you got a banged up Russell Wilson, who might be one of the most tone deaf individuals in the NFL. With his let's ride and the Wolverine blood comments, like, come on, dude, are you serious? You're right. If you're 4-2, fine, have some fun with it. And you're playing well, have some fun with it. But you stink and you can't play well. Yeah. And this team can't get out of its own way. And you're talking about Wolverine blood, joking about that, and let's ride as you're heading off. At least he didn't say it after the last game. No. My gosh.
If you rostered Mecole Hardman today in DFS or season long, a good chance you're winning. Mecole Hardman just scored his 3rd touchdown of the game. He's got 4 catches for 32 yards and a touchdown, and he just ran his 2nd touchdown in. A 3-yard reverse. He now has 2 carries for 28 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm looking here, he's got 27 He's got 27 fantasy points. Hold on. I got to hit the leaderboard here for a second. Then we'll hit the top of the hour break. Mecole Hardman is third. He probably isn't going to pass Jamar Chase, but there's still 10 minutes left in this game. Jamar Chase leads the way today, 33 PPR points. Tyler Boyd, 29.5, then Mecole at 28. Pat Mahomes told us, sorry, fantasy people, we don't know who the big person's going to be week to week.
Yeah. Now, other than Travis Kelce, that's it. That's the only one you can count on at this point within that team.
Did you see Valdez-Scantling?
He did
have another big one. 57, 40, and a 57-yard catch, a 40-yard catch, 3 catches, 111 yards. So San Francisco, get a wake-up call today. Get their asses kicked. It's beautiful. Beautiful. All right, we're hitting the top of the hour break. We'll come back. Kamla's coming on next hour. Sure. Love talking with him. We'll catch you up on the games that are in progress, and we'll probably have a recap of that Vegas. Yeah, we'll have a recap of the Vegas Texans game. That game is in the books. Josh Jacobs went bananas. Stick around. More in the Bettor Zone.
Bettor Zone.
Collectible moment. Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing shot to short. Ramirez has it. Throws. Bartlett picks a perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ. Lays it in. Right out one second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up and in. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson to carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux.
Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena.
And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the Bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP Dodge. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the banking. They're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downey, swinging, there's a drive into left-handed field. That ball is gonna be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Bettor Sports Network.
Walker, the shotgun snap, throwing for the end zone. Moore is there. He makes the catch. Did he stay in bounds? He did! Touchdown, Carolina! Walker in the gun. Moore now slot left. Here's the snap. Pressure off the edge. They run it to Hubbard. He's got the 10. 5 up the middle. Touchdown, Panthers!
We got a win today. I thought it was complimentary in all 3 phases. I thought we did a good job. On third down defensively, getting off the field, and of course up front, offensive line did a great job in controlling the line of scrimmage. We had 173 yards rushing, and I thought we executed in the kicking game.
Bettor Zone.
It's pretty better. I love it. He's Greg Larnard. I'm Holden Kushner. Rick Camlin's going to join us this hour. We just had a game go final a couple of minutes ago. We also have 1, 2, 3 games in progress. Real quick, Greg, as I was saying, the Raiders beat up the Texans 38-20. So we went our show bet over 42.5 over 43. In this one, Josh Jacobs went bananas, 143 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, adds 3 catches for 13 yards. And all I could say is, wow, this guy has turned into a legit RB1.
That's awesome.
If somebody is in your league and they don't believe in Josh Jacobs, believe in him and go get him, because I know his stock is never going to be higher, but his stock could stay this high. He's that good in this system.
Yeah, he is really good. And speaking of that, the reason I hesitated there, because I did see one of my league mates offering Josh Jacobs up as well.
Wow.
So he's like, look, he's been sitting on my bench. I've loaded at running back. Yeah, it's crazy.
What does he have? Like freaking Derrick Henry, and who does he have that he's got?
I don't know.
Josh Jacobs sitting. I want to play in that league.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can find who
that
he's got on his team.
Borderline asinine.
He may have played him this
Josh
week.
Jacobs has done. Here's what Josh Jacobs has done the last 3 weeks, okay? 144, 2 touchdowns, another 5 catches for 31 yards. Then he goes for 154 on the ground, a touchdown, 5 catches, 39 yards. And then today. So he's gone for 144, 154, and 143 in his last 3 games.
All right, here's who he's got on his team in terms of running backs. He's got Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, and Jeff Wilson.
What a donkey.
He played him this week. He played him this week.
Go get him.
I'm going to try to get him. I don't know if I have enough on the old roster to go out and make that happen, but
I mean, at this point, this guy is just something else. All right. What do we got going on here? We got 3 games in progress. The Broncos are going for it on 4th and 3, right down near the 2-minute warning. It's 16-7. The Jets leading Denver. Brett Rippon has been as bad as we thought. So that'll be a 2-minute warning there, 4th and 3. Wouldn't shock me if Hackett decided to go for a field goal here because he's not a good coach. What about the Chiefs and the Niners? 37-23, 8 minutes to play here, Greg. There's Pacheco! 17 yards. He got us to 40. Cash Pacheco, baby. Woo!
Cha-ching.
Hold on, not yet. Let me just say that I'm partying too early. What if he has like an 8-yard loss? But Pacheco, we said what we need. We need a 10, 15-yard run. He got 17.
There you go.
So both those bets cash. Valdez-Scantling over, Pacheco over, 37-23. Chiefs on top. Again, it comes back to me. There's 2 things going on in this game. Mecole Hardman and Christian McCaffrey. Feel free to start with any one that you want. But again, I don't think that McCaffrey's going to be that much worse despite a big cut in workload. I still think instead of being a top 2 or 3 guy, now he's probably a top, 7 to 9 to 10 guy.
Yeah, he's not going to be the top dog. He's not where he was. But yeah, he's in a better offense, better system. They love to run the football. They're usually a pretty good offensive line for San Francisco. He'll be good, but he's not going to be that top dog anymore. We've seen some other guys do that, but man, I want to talk about what's happening in Los Angeles right now. I'm still shocked that the Chargers are not able to get back into this football game. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They're just so much better of an offense. But Seattle's defense is not that good.
You're forgetting the X factor. Brandon Staley.
Oh, Brandon Staley.
Listen, I know the analytics crowd loves him, and I love numbers. But analytics aren't going to do you any good unless you know how to apply those numbers at the right time. And you realize that you don't have to be a slave to the numbers, that you can actually coach with feel once in a while. He can't get the plays in all the time. He can't get the plays in on time. He's another one. I mean, the other week when it was the Chiefs and the whether it was the Broncos and the Chargers, it was a clown show. Literally, you had 2 clowns coaching against each other, and you saw mistake after mistake after mistake. I mean, you talk about bad coaching. The AFC West was supposed to be the division of death this year. Instead, you get Josh McDaniel, who, by the way, maybe he's not a bad coach this time around. I know they had a rough start, but this team is a lot better than their record. Brandon Staley, who's going to get fired after this year when the Chargers don't make the playoffs, and Nathaniel Hackett, who shouldn't have a job at the end of this year either. And then there's Andy Reid.
Do you think there's any way he gets fired after 1 year?
Yes. Yeah, he's just that incompetent. Like, you can't. Yeah, you have a window, right, with Russell Wilson, and you probably got another 4-year window, and I don't think you can waste another year. And Cortland Sutton just dropped a touchdown pass, although it was well defended, and this game is almost over now. So it took a shot in the end zone, 16-9, Jets leading, $1:55 left. This is good news for the total. I mean, I was saying, I'm not, the 36 is too low because it went from 42.5, 36. This thing was 23. No offense in the second half. And the reason why there's offense in the first half is because Breece Hall busted off a 62-yard touchdown run, and then he got hurt, and there's been nothing since. Seriously, nothing since.
Nothing. It's ugly.
He scored a touchdown. Yeah. And now you got the Seahawks that are just probably going to finish this thing off. Kenneth Walker just ran for 12 yards. So the Jets-Broncos game isn't officially over because the Broncos have 3 timeouts, and they're going to hand the ball off, so they'll probably get the ball back with about a minute and 30 seconds. But again, it's Brett Rippon under center, so I don't think you can feel too comfortable. And now Javonte Williams and Mike Boone are gone, so you're down to Latavius Murray and Melvin Gordon. But back to your Chargers for a second. Is Herbert do we blame this on him being hurt still? Because this is not a good line. You're down by double digits the whole game. He's 23 of 36 for 205 yards. And Keenan Allen, like I told you, stay away from Keenan Allen. The guy is too banged up. 2 catches, 11 yards. And your boy Mike Williams, 5 for 53 and a touchdown. That's fine. That's fine. I think if Allen's out, though, you cash your bet pretty easily. And instead of 7 targets, he probably gets about 10.
Well, what I thought going at my thought process behind that bet, where the longest reception over 23.5 yards was just, hey, look, Keenan Allen is back. He might not see the volume, but maybe he's just on the outside. Maybe Herbert finds him deep one time. Like, that's what I was looking for in this game. We still have some time to find it in this last quarter here, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. I do have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I was happy that he found pay dirt.
Oof. And then what? Kansas City and San Francisco?
Kansas City and San Francisco, we're still sweating out Deebo Samuel needing about 20 more yards through the air.
Oh, my God.
One of my parlays.
Dude, look at the Chiefs. Look what the Chiefs did to what I think is one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL. 44-23. They've hung up 44 on them. And Mahomes, did Hardman just score for a 4th time? Or is that an old one? That's got to be an old one, right? Yeah, that's
an old one. He's got 3 touchdowns.
3. Yeah. He's got 3. So the Chiefs are knocking on the door. They're going to put up a 50 burger today.
Yeah. Well, look, the difference between the difference between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Packers, who are both contenders on both sides. Look, when the Chiefs lost their top target in Tyreek Hill, they went out and did something about it. They got Juju, they got MVS from the Packers, they went out and drafted Sky Moore, they got Pacheco. Like, they added all of these different veteran type pieces in terms of receivers, and they've been able to sort of piecemeal it together with some of their younger players. On the other side, we've talked a lot about the Packers today, and they didn't do that. They went out and got Sammy freaking Watkins. They brought in an old Randall Cobb last year, which is great. He's great for the locker room. He's an Aaron Rodgers guy. They're buddies. That's fine. He's fine. They're not paying him a lot of money, but you needed to go out there and bring in some legitimate targets for this offense, losing Devontae Adams, and not just say, we're going to go with Romeo Doubs and Christian Watkins. Yeah, I get it. Like, they're, good players. They're talented. They're young, but you got to get some skilled guys in here, and you got to get some veteran guys into the mix. And they failed to do that, and they're 3-4 because of it.
That's rough. All right, Broncos are getting the ball back. Like I said, about 90 seconds. The punt's going off right now. I have zero faith in Brett Rippon to take care of this. And by the way, what an amazing punt. It goes from, they're deep in their own territory, so it's a touchback. So Denver has to go 80 yards in 90 seconds.
That's not happening.
Like right now, just because someone out there wants to put money on Denver, I would put Denver plus 300 just to get people to bet on this game. Just to get people to bet on the game. Let me see what the line is right now. They took it down. How do you not have this game lineup, guys? It's got to be there. No?
I see it at, well, I saw it for a second at plus 250. It's down now where I'm looking.
Okay. Yeah, here we go. The Broncos are plus 1,100. Wow, I was setting a line very poorly there. That was not a good line set by me. Whew. So if they played this game 11 times, one time the Broncos would score a touchdown. This ain't going to be the one time. And I know the better boss in the chat, he goes, nobody could throw on Denver. He doesn't want me to be tough on Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson stinks. He is a game manager. 16 of 26, 120. He's got really good talent around him. He's not that accurate. I'm not a Zach Wilson guy either. I'm just not.
No.
The way Flacco played earlier in the year gives them a better shot to win than the way Zach Wilson plays.
Absolutely. 100%, man. Like he's the legitimate veteran quarterback. He's not flashy or anything like that, but he's just better than Zach Wilson is right now. And it's kind of interesting because I feel like the Jets have been in the same predicament the last couple of quarterbacks that they've brought in there, whether it be Sam Darnold and now Zach Wilson, just these young guys that just really aren't ready to play. And maybe they're just not that good. And, I know Sam Darnold, he had to sit on the bench for a little while. He got banged up. I don't remember who the backup was that came in, played a little bit. And then he came back.
White or someone else?
No, it was somebody else. It was like an older dude. He was like 40 years old. He like was a backup with the Eagles for a while. They kind of had him on retainer. Gosh, his name is just escaping me right now. I can't remember exactly
he's not good enough for us to remember him, so we'll move on.
He's a blonde dude. He had some nice moments in the NFL. He's a career kind of backup dude. But yeah, like they kind of had him sitting back and forth, and maybe they need to sit Sam Darnold or Zach Wilson down a little bit and just let Joe Flacco go out there and play. Because again, they have a legitimate team. They have Breece Hall. I hope the injury is not serious, but they've got a good defense. They need somebody who can create some offense, and it's not Zach Wilson.
No. But the Broncos do have the ball at midfield. It's interesting, and then a Jet was injured. Speaking of injuries today, Breece Hall, the big one, the knee, 62-yard touchdown run. A few minutes later, he's out. Trying to get an update on him. DK Metcalf out early today with an ankle. Monra with a concussion. Those are the big ones that I remember for now. I don't remember us having this type of name recognition as far as injuries. It's unfortunate, but this is what we got to deal with every single week. Hey, let's come back and do a leaderboard. Then Rick Kamler is going to join us. Looking forward to talking with Kamler as always. Just a couple games going on. Still 3, as a matter of fact. 16-9. Jets over Denver. Just about 48 seconds left in that game. Seahawks mauling the Chargers 30-16. I would not give up on this one, though, Greg. I know it looks bad. I know that I don't like Staley, but you still got Justin Herbert. It's 2
plus
touchdowns.
800. Plus 800 right now.
Yeah, well, it does. Oh, yeah, I'm not saying they're going to win. Or I think they're going to win. I'm just not saying the nail's in the coffin. Yeah. And then Mahomes has gone for 378, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Pacheco started. He's got the most carries with 7. Mecole Hardman scored 3 touchdowns today, 2 rushing. Christian McCaffrey, 8 carries, 38 yards. And he caught 2 balls for 24 yards. And we're going to get out. We'll come back. Leaderboard, loser board, Rick Kamler next on the Bettor Zone on the Bettor Sports Network.
Hang out in the Bettor Zone for a better NFL game day experience. Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Moose and Keith with you. Let's welcome aboard right now, Iron Eagle.
One of the great stories that I have from doing notes on a plane, and you always get people looking over. They see color-coded uniform numbers, names, height, weight, age, background, hometown. And I had a woman sitting next to me on a flight, and I'm doing my notes, and she's kind of giving the look, then looking. And I can tell she's looking. And then finally, she'll say, so what is it that you do? Well, what do you think I do? She said, are you a wedding planner? I said, yes. I said, I have to put Rob Gronkowski at Tom Brady's table. I said, you know what? You're not correct, but it's the best answer I've ever heard.
That's great.
Corey Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media.
As far as fantasy life, fantasy executive, it's going to be a football life. The fantasy executive is probably going to be the best football life ever.
And who'll be the guest? Everyone who was on yesterday. Basically.
Yeah, everybody that's on yesterday will be the guest. Scott Ingram, you know what I'm saying? Adam Ronis. Yeah, everybody, those people. Because what Nando, obviously you'll be there. You know what I'm saying? We'll go to the GST and shoot some scenes. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be nice.
We'll shoot some scenes in Midtown Manhattan. Antonio Brown can be on my football life,
That'd
right?
be nice.
Because that's a big part of my come up as a fantasy analyst. Everybody, the football life, the fantasy executive is going to be for the people. When they do the football life on the fantasy executive, I'm going to be hands on.
Good. Yeah. You talking to you. Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Cheetos or Doritos?
I truly love both. Cool Ranch Doritos. I grew up on Cheetos. I was a big Chester Cheetah guy.
Oh, nice.
But Ray, as I have aged into adulthood, I've moved away from the fun that is the Cheeto, and I've gone to the, more cosmopolitan Cool Ranch Dorito chip. So I'm probably a Cool Ranch guy. How about you?
I would go Doritos. I don't like Cool Ranch. The traditional, original, regular, whatever it is really good. But my favorite's actually the sweet chili, the purple bag. Oh, delicious. It's fantastic.
Yeah. The one that sucks, and I think we can all agree on this one, taco.
Yeah.
I know a lot of things, and I'm perfect at a lot of things. My Dorito trivia is a little shaky.
Okay.
A little shaky. But I think taco is the first flavor.
McKinnon stays in at running back. Valdez-Scantling to the left side. They're going to flip it to Hardman. Going left, gets a block inside the 5. Hardman squeezes into the end zone. Touchdown! Kansas City on a flip pass. As McCall Hardman takes it for 8 yards from Mahomes. It gets great blocking on the left side. First down goal to go for the Chiefs at the 3. Play action fake. Mahomes grips the ball. Fires it late. Caught in the back of the end zone. Touchdown! Kansas City! Kelsey is in a tight slot that same way. Time to throw over the middle. Juju Smith-Schuster wide open. 25-20. Shoots the safety. 10 gets a block. Angling near side pylon. Touchdown! Kansas City. It is yards after catch all day long. A 45-yard touchdown reception by Juju Smith-Schuster.
Better zone.
The guy with the deep voice is right. It is the better zone. He's Greg Larnard. I'm Holden Kushner. Hey, hit the fun button. If you go to the app, you got to be in the app, right? And you find the fun button, just hit it. It's such an amazing experience. You want to hit us up? Questions for Rick Kamla. We got him coming up. Hit us up in the chat here. We'll be more than happy. The interception was not an interception by Brett Rippon. They got a 4th down for the Broncos from midfield. And for the second straight 4th down, they threw to the end zone, and for the second straight 4th down, it was incomplete. So the Jets are going to beat Denver 16-9, and this game went under, way under, like so far under that even if you got the closing line of 36, you still never sweat this. Well, maybe you sweat it the first quarter because both teams scored a touchdown, but after that, it was just a field goal festival, and it was sloppy.
Yeah, it was Holden, and look, as much as we want to sit here, we've talked a lot about these 4 o'clock games here, Eastern Standard Time. I can't help, and I don't know if you felt this way watching the early slate of games, but just sitting there watching the early slate of games, I just couldn't help thinking to myself, how ugly is football right now? A lot of the teams that normally are good and moving the football, it just seems like defenses are really reigning supreme outside of, the Bills and Kansas City. Just a lot of ugly offense, a lot of ugly football around the National Football League right now. It just seems.
You won't get me to say anything bad about the National Football League as far as the game. Like, this is just, I don't care. Like, I have to watch the Broncos every
I love the game. I love them, but it's just like the product It just doesn't feel the same as it usually does.
Well, look, I mean, we got 58 points with Vegas and Houston. We got 67 points here with the Chiefs. At least the offense is coming back, no?
Well, yes, I'm saying like in this slate of games, the offense has been better. But I'm talking about in the early slate of games. Like you look at some of them, they just weren't good games. Like there just wasn't really a lot to be happy about. I mean, the Buccaneers with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Russell Gage and Tom Brady all healthy put up 3 points. I know Mike Evans dropped that long pass, the whole thing. Packers can't move the football against the Commanders. The Titans and the Colts. I got to watch the Titans here being in Chattanooga. It's hard to watch. The Falcons didn't put up a lot of points, but the Bengals, obviously with a good offense, they were able to do so. Just looks like a lot of ugly offense right now.
All right, let's go look at the handsome, beautiful, gorgeous, sensational, spectacular, good things that happened. Leaderboard today. Joe Burrow wrapped things up, 39.24 fantasy points. His two of his wide receivers topped the charts at wide receiver too. But Burrow, 481, 3 touchdowns, ran for 20 yards and another touchdown. So 4 total touchdowns today for him. Daniel Jones, number 2. Patrick Mahomes sitting number 3 right now. Andy Dalton, Trevor Lawrence in the top 5. Davis Mills, 18 points, found his way to number 6. But today was all about Joe Burrow. But I know you're watching some of this Chiefs game here. Patrick Mahomes, another huge day for him. 423, 3 touchdowns, an interception. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, 2 best quarterbacks. Go pick whichever one has the better week is the best one.
If you had to pick one of them right now, who would you take and why? Fantasy-wise.
I want Patrick Mahomes with the Bills offense. I don't think Josh Allen would be doing this with this cast of crew. I just don't.
Yeah.
Like he's got Steph Diggs there, who is the top
Gabe Davis.
7-8 wide receiver, right? Neither team has good running game, although I give a slight edge to Buffalo. Gabe Davis, Steph Diggs versus Juju Smith-Schuster and Marcus Valdez-Scantling. So
but
Kelce
he doesn't
versus
have Travis
Diggs,
Kelce
basically.
to throw at.
Yeah, Kelce. Yeah. I still say that
Josh Allen is better with his legs.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he wants to run.
Yeah.
But I'll take Mahomes. I'll still go with Mahomes.
I'll take Josh Allen just because of his upside running the football.
I think if you leave the two teams, who's going to have the better year statistically, it's going to be Allen. And he runs a lot.
Yeah.
He's the better fantasy player, even though Mahomes is going to be right there at the end of the year. It's amazing. Running back today, late slate. Josh Jacobs leading the way, 36.5, 143 on the ground, 3 touchdowns, 3 catches, 12 yards. Kenneth Walker. Wow, this kind of snuck up on us today, huh? Did he get back in the box or something?
He did. He did.
Wow. Kenneth Walker, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. So the late slate running backs, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, 168 and 2. 28.8, and then Aaron Jones, Eno Benjamin, Austin Eckler, who's still in action with 23.1. How about Kenneth Walker?
Wow.
Love
this kid. I liked him coming out of Michigan State, man. He's just a hard runner. He's a dog, dude. He's he's kind of like he kind of epitomizes what Seattle wants out of a running back. Rashad Penny's never been able to stay healthy. He's a gritty dude, runs hard. It just seems like this is a good fit for him in Seattle.
Yep. So that's the running back leaderboard. So Kenneth Walker right behind Josh Jacobs. Told you about the wide receivers in Cincinnati. Jamar Chase leading the way, 33 points. He had 8 catches for 130, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd, number 2, 8 catches, 155 and a touchdown. Then Mecole Hardman, 4 catches, 100 yards, a touchdown, 28 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. So your top 3 this week, Chase, Boyd, Hardman, Juju, and Paris Campbell. That doesn't look right. Who belongs there besides for Jamar Chase?
Nobody. I mean, you could make a case for either one of those Kansas City receivers just because Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback. And if you told me like, oh yeah, like one of those guys is going to go off within a specific week, I'd believe that. But having both of them go off in the same week, if you're a fantasy manager and you had the gall to play them against the 49ers defense, good for you. You're happy.
Kind of tilted right now. DraftKings DraftKings DFS is down here, and I can't sweat out my late contests. That's right. That means I got to pay more attention to the show.
Uh-oh.
It's good for business. What happened?
There you go. It's not the worst thing in the world.
What? Paying attention to the show? I mean, it's good. So it's 37-16 Seahawks.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Brandon Staley has to be on the hot seat. He has to be.
He's got to be at this point.
Embarrassing. You've got an elite quarterback, an elite running back. I know Keenan Allen's been down, but a wide receiver isn't going to affect the way they play. They brought in all these players defensively, like Khalil Mack, and this is what it's showing.
Yeah, they've got some defense. They've had some injuries on defense, and they actually just had another injury to one of their wide receivers. Did you see that? Mike Evans, Mike Williams went down with an ankle injury.
Well, now they're really screwed. By the way, it's over.
Yeah.
Basically, Chiefs just with an interception in the end zone. 44-23 is going to be the final score in that game. But back to the Chargers. I asked you earlier today, I said, if the Seahawks go in there and have a convincing win in LA against the Chargers, are you buying into the Seahawks? You buying into the Seahawks yet?
I guess I have to buy a little bit into the Seahawks because I was higher on the Chargers. I thought they would run away with this game. I thought Seahawks scoring and getting up early was kind of fluky, and they've proven me wrong. They've got a good running game. Their defense has played better. Maybe it's just Brandon Staley's bad. I just don't know what's going on. And there's a lot of weird stuff, as we've been talking about, that's going on in the AFC West that I don't think a lot of us would have foreseen.
That is accurate. That is an accurate statement, sir. 37-16.
And in a bad NFC,
I don't think Pete Carroll
are the Seahawks viable?
I don't think Pete Carroll's special anymore, but Russell Wilson is the plague, and Pete Carroll is in the mix for the coach of the year. He's gotten Geno Smith, who is a laughingstock in the NFL for years, to be a well above average quarterback. He's got a good running back, and I think nobody's talking about is their defense.
Yeah.
They really stopped the Chargers today. Even the Chargers get another one, but you look up and down here. J.C. Jackson, by the way, carted off. He wasn't any good since coming over, but an elite cornerback who just has not stepped up this year. You've got Brooks, you got Jackson, you got Nwosu. They brought in some names. Cadre Diggs is even back there, but Seahawks, man, I'm buying into it. I'm buying into it officially.
In a week NFC, yeah. How could you not? I mean, anything is possible here in the NFC with a bunch of the teams that are usually good not playing up to snuff. And who do you have more faith in right now? The Cardinals or the Seahawks?
Seahawks.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because Cliff Kingsbury belongs in the same bus with Brandon Staley and Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
All three of them. Ship them out. Kamla's here, though. Rick Kamla. Wonderful to see you. By the way, if you got any questions for Rick, hit us up in the chat. Hit the fun button because having Rick on is fun. Hello, sir. I'm sure you got all your notes. We were just talking about the Seahawks. You buying these guys yet? Up 37-16. And hello, kind sir.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing, man? Good to be on here. I love what you said about the combo platter of coaches, right? They all suck. Every name that you mentioned right there, they're all garbage. I knew Brandon Staley was garbage last year when he started taking 4th and 2s to his own 20. What are we doing here, man? Vince Lombardi is literally doing backflips in his grave over this, man. You're not meant to be on this sideline. I want to get in to the Seahawks thing. I want to plug into it, man. Kenneth Walker is a special back. This dude is a robo back, isn't he? But and Geno's playing well, obviously. The problem is DK Metcalf's injury. Do we have details on that? Or have we gotten a Schefter bomb that the team fears a serious injury, anything that?
Not yet.
So, I mean, the DK thing and not knowing about that kind of keeps me from really plugging in. But they've been a big time overachiever. But guys, I think there's something else going on here. We had a polarizing team in the offseason called the LA Chargers. There were a lot of people saying the Chargers are going to win the division, win the AFC, win the Super Bowl, Herbert for MVP. I flushed all of that. Staley is a big problem with that. And I thought the Khalil Mack move was overrated. I did like the J.C. Jackson move, right? He had 10 picks last year, if memory serves. All right, you're spending money to get better in the secondary. Cool, I get it. That's blown up in their face. Khalil Mack is ancient and can't get it done anymore. Bosa's hurt now. So I just never was feeling the LA Chargers thing. So I think that as impressive as it is what Seattle did today, I think we got to look at the Chargers side. They're at home, man. Like, when are they going to gain traction? When are they going to start being the team that a lot of people thought they were going to be? And I know that they had some momentum going into this game, but you're at home against Seattle, man, right? DK goes out. You can't get it done. To me, that's a bad look for the Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I want to kind of stick, we're talking about Seattle and the NFC West out there. Holden and I have been talking a little bit about this throughout the day, and we just saw the 49ers get beat up pretty bad by a good Chiefs team. The move was made this week to bring in CMC. How much do you think that helps and impacts them moving forward here with the 49ers?
Well, what I can tell you is, and I'd love to bounce this off you guys too, getting Christian McCaffrey is – obviously, none of us try to overreact here, but we react to the news, right? To me, it has reopened the door to the Niners maybe winning the Super Bowl this year. And so if people want to take a long shot, plus 1,500 to win the Super Bowl, I get it now, right? And before, hype about Trey Lance before he got hurt, I'm like, no, this team is not going to realize its hopes and dreams with Trey Lance in his first year as a starting quarterback. It's not going to happen. So I was under on their win total, all that kind of stuff. But now that you've got Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Ayuk, who's activated this year, Jimmy G just has to not make the Jimmy G, this is why you were in QB purgatory mistake. And he made that effing mistake today, guys. The hope ball at the end zone, pressure coming in, take the sack, throw it away, do anything but throw the football that you threw on that play. Obviously, it's intercepted. It's a Jameis Winston play, guys. It's why Jameis Winston is in the position that he's in right now. He throws these hope balls. You can't throw hope balls, man. They get intercepted. And so Jimmy G otherwise played not well enough to win, but he moved the ball, was throwing some good balls out there, put up some good stats for us here. But it's taken the lid off of it. I would parallel it to the LA Lakers quickly. Like, if they trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, to me, it opens up the championship window on the Lakers, or maybe at least the playoff window for them. But it would be a transcending move for them. And getting McCaffrey out there in San Fran. Can I ask you guys a question?
Of course.
Why did we see so much of Jeff Wilson today? And I like Jeff Wilson. I'm a Jeff Wilson guy. But you trade for CMC. He looked good today. Why can't you hand the ball off to a guy and let him run and pick holes and go? Why? You know what I'm saying? You trade for him. Let's go. Giddy up.
I feel like
you got
10
the Chiefs
carries
in your
is
house.
perfect. I think 10 touches is perfect for him. Guy had how many days to adjust to this? 2 days? He was there for 2 days.
It's football.
I'm surprised he got 10 Austin Eckler touchdown by the way.
This is Kawhi Leonard bubble wrap. This is some Brooklyn Nets ass bubble wrap. This is some
let's not forget this guy falls apart every year. I know it's soft tissue. Well, the guy had 400 carries under his belt, 600 carries in 2 years, it seemed like. So I don't mind how they're handling it.
I'm just saying, man.
I bet you this sits between 15 and 18 touches a week, Rick.
Ooh, we got well. Then I take back everything I said about their championship window being lifted off. If you're gonna deploy the battleship, okay, now we got something to talk about. But if you're gonna bring in the battleship and leave it at the port the whole damn time, give me a break. Run them out there.
Look, I'm with you, Rick. I think in order for them to be successful, they need to do that. But I think today was just sort of, hey, look, he's had 2 days to adjust. He's just kind of getting acclimated with San Francisco. We'll give Jeff Wilson some carries. Maybe he doesn't know the offense all that much. But as we see here, that there's some brutal news coming down from New York where Breece Hall, the initial diagnosis is not good. The ACL. They suspect that, man. I know. It's terrible to see with this young running back.
Well, I know that Jets fans are probably going to be freaking out. There's a couple reasons.
It hurts. They just re-killed Carl. They just killed him over again.
Electrifying players in the NFL. He was on his way to probably being the offensive rookie of the year. Now, those of you that have the Dameon Pierce, he's next in line. So Michael Carter is going to be the guy that's back in the circle of trust for a lot of guys. Yeah. Second of all, he was their offense. And I'm serious. Now you have to rely on Zach Wilson, Michael Carter. Running backs don't matter. I think there's a big gap between Carter and Hall. Okay, guys? And I think going forward, you know my thoughts on Zach Wilson. He's a hack. He's a game manager. I think the Jets have now finished their run through backup quarterbacks. and it's about to get difficult. And this Breece Hall injury is not good, and it's sad. But like Travis Etienne, maybe he comes back and he steps up big at some point in time next year. Rick?
This is a knife wound to my fantasy soul. It is. I'm not that invested in Breece Hall because I made some trades out of the first round this year in dynasty leagues and stuff, and was doing other stuff. Like, you got to be at the top to get a guy like Breece Hall, right? You had to have the first pick, the second or third pick in a dynasty draft. So I do have him in some redraft leagues, and I think in some like kooky creative Yahoo dynasty leagues, I may have him in one or two. So it's like, I feel it personally, but this is like a discovery of mine. This is one of my like fantasy children right here. Do you guys remember the buzz in the offseason? There was more buzz about Isaiah Spiller than Breece Hall. Do you guys remember this? Like, am I a Planet Kamala here? There was more buzz about Isaiah freaking Spiller going to a backup role behind Eckler than there was Breece Hall going to the Jets. It was my favorite pick in the draft of every single pick, all 7 rounds, was the Jets getting him early in the second round. I had a first round grade on him. I had Kenneth Walker as the second best back coming out, but Breece Hall to me was Breece Hall, drop down, and then it's Walker, and then it's the rest of the guys. This was not a great running back class. It wasn't. And Dameon Pierce obviously is a stud. He looked good again today, but me all off season fending off the wolves, the vampires, the zombies with all of this Spiller stuff, and I'm a Breece Hall guy, and then you see him rocking and rolling on the field, and you're like, that's my guy. Talent evaluation coming to the field right here. Talent meets opportunity, the whole thing, and now he blew a tire. I'm bummed out about it, man.
Me too. There's nothing to be happy about. This guy was the most electrifying rookie running back out there. He'll be back. And Corey Davis got hurt too. So now they're without Zach Wilson's favorite target. He's sprained an MCL. Not a long-term.
Do you think Elijah Moore wants to retract his trade request now?
No.
He could be like, hey, man, it's all good. You can throw me the ball now, right?
Screw him. Get rid of him. He's a malcontent. You don't need that.
Get him out.
I think the guy ruined his career. You guys know how NFL front offices are. They don't mess around with this stuff. You got baggage. You're going to be a headache for me. No, I'll do business with somebody else. There's another guy, 6'1", 220, that runs a 4.4. There is that guy on planet Earth. I'll go get that guy. So I think he poisoned his career, man.
He's only a second-year guy, like you were talking about. He's a young dude. It's not like that we're talking about a guy who's been in the league for 6-7 years saying this.
And you're complaining during a winning streak. What an idiot.
Yeah.
Like that, coaches on other teams, like, you're complaining during a winning streak? No, like, there's got to be something else there, and you know how people work in their brain. And so, he's really damaged his career. He really has with this, man. This is the NFL. This is not the NBA. You can ask out in the NBA, and they most of the time honor your request, right? All right, we'll find you a new team. This is the NFL, man. It's not. Player empowerment has kind of hit the NFL, not like the NBA.
Okay, so we got a new running back atop the leaderboard, by the way. Josh Jacobs, of course, with a monster after. If you had a running back from the afternoon slate, decent chance you did well. Josh Jacobs, 36.5 PPR points, 143 on the ground, 3 touchdowns, 3 for 12 in the air. Austin Eckler, 36.7 points. So he is now the leading running back, fantasy points, second highest scorer on the slate behind Joe Burrow. 31 yards rushing on 9 carries. He's not a great running back. Okay. 1 touchdown, but he is a great receiver. Caught all 12 of his targets, 96 yards, a touchdown. He fumbled, but 36.7. Hey, Rick, as far as season long, and I don't play as much redraft as I bet, and I play DFS, but I still play it. Jacobs or Eckler rest of the season? I don't think it's an easy question either. Normally you just go Eckler, but damn, Jacobs been hot.
He has. And what I like about Jacobs is he looks like, I don't know, like there's more octane, there's more juice. Like there's an electricity to him this year. Last year there wasn't, the year before there wasn't. He was just out there he was like just a back. He looked very ordinary to me. I believe he took some weight off. I don't know this. You can just kind of tell he's moving better. He's just quicker through the hole. He's got more burst. It's just an eye test thing. But what the Raiders did, I think they got him right? Pulling the offer. We're not going to extend you beyond this year. Okay, go out and prove it to us. So they put Jacobs in a contract year, and he is now ball on tee, home run, hitting it out of the park in a contract year. And he's probably playing his way into, I don't know, 2 years and 10 mil, 2 years and 15 mil. Why would the Raiders let him go right now? He's balling for them.
So just real quick, and Dave Poland in the chat, Rick, and I asked for questions for Rick. You went on Mad Dog, said the Broncos bench Russ, hamstring injuries are fickle. They don't want him out several weeks. Did you see Rippin today? It's exactly the kind of hot take you despise, and you're better than that.
Whoa. What? You got to read that again.
All right. Rick went on, this is Dave Poland. Rick went on Mad Dog, said the Broncos benched Russ. Okay?
Yes.
Hamstring injuries are fickle. They don't want him out several weeks. They didn't bench him for Rippin. Did you see Rippin today? It was actually exactly the type of hot take you despise. You're better than that. So he's saying he doesn't think Wilson got benched.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Dave Poland's my guy. He's in the chat room every night. Just because we disagree on something doesn't mean that my side is a hot take. So let's get into the sports conversation, parsing words area here. I don't do hot takes. My takes are born of evaluation and analysis, Dave. So you should know that. And just because I have a different opinion than you doesn't mean it's a hot take. I hit the listeners yesterday on Mad Dog with the Adam Schefter report, guys. I may have to dig into my likes here for just a second. And I sort of parse the words of this Schefter report. Let me get here real quick. It won't take me very long. And I will take you into what Dave Poland was
let
talking
me just
about.
say this, Rick, and I'll just say this being in Denver. The guy has a torn lat, so he can't throw properly, a torn hamstring, so he can't run properly. I personally, and he looked okay in warmups. I saw a lot of video of warmups. I mean, I personally think it's probably a multi-week thing, and they might rush him back last week after what they saw with Rippin. And I'm telling you now, if Rippin has a good game today, they probably sit Wilson next week. I really believe that.
So at the time that I said this stuff on Mad Dog Sports Radio, we did not know that he had a torn hamstring.
Okay.
I want to put that out there.
And that's it.
This is what Adam Schefter said. While Russell Wilson wanted to play despite a hamstring injury and did everything he could to play, the Broncos' Nathaniel Hack will hold back the 9-time Pro Bowl QB versus the Jets to allow him time to heal and prevent a lingering injury. And what I said to that is, every single coach in the world facing a death game, which Denver faced today, will play his main guy if his guy can walk. Aaron Rodgers played with a broken toe last year. Matt Stafford's played with a broken back. Tony Romo has played with a broken back. Okay? These guys are playing with broken bones. Baker Mayfield last year, take a crap on him if you want. He played all year with a broken left shoulder, a broken bone. And so I'm supposed to feel bad about Russ that he's got a lat and a hammy. Can you walk? And if you can walk, you can play. What would Big Ben do? How many injuries did Big Ben drag up and down the football field, throwing howitzers out there and winning a bunch of games for the Steelers? You're the starting quarterback of your team. There's obviously a seismic drop-off from you to the next guy. It's a death game. I'm going to need you to play. And I don't know. There were times today in the first half, it fell apart in the second half. There were times in the first half where I was like, is Russell Wilson really better than Brett Rippon? And clearly he is. But this year, is he?
Yes, but not much.
Yeah, not my much.
Brett Rippon is completely incompetent. Okay. I saw enough of Brett Rippon against the Jets last time. I didn't need to see him again today. That's fine. At least Russell Wilson can give you a good quarter. Brett Rippon can't give you a good minute, back-to-back play. So that's one thing with Denver. They're a mess. We talked about the Chargers that were a mess as well. So I'll just ask you this open-end question. What team impressed you the most today? Was it a Kansas City with a big win on the road? Was it the Bengals? Was it the Seahawks? Some big wins today. Who stood out to you the most? The Giants. Boy.
I'm just taking a look here real quick.
Yeah, that's why I'm throwing names out.
I'm gonna hit you with the Commanders. I'm gonna hit you with I want to go out from left field right here. Because the Commanders were given up for dead. And Green Bay was favored going into that game by 4.5, 5 points, something like that. And me and a lot of other people were like how? Like, Green Bay sucks. Like, Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't run anymore. There's no wiggle anymore. There's no darting movements anymore. It just stands out there all sullen and pissed off and dour and just throws balls into the ground. And you'll get a couple of Rodgers moments in there, right? Like the throw on the side of the end zone to Aaron Jones late in the game to kind of tighten it up. That was an amazing throw. on the run left, kind of that drop the arm slot. I mean, okay, where is it the rest of the game? We've been seeing this all year. But on the Commander side, I thought Gibson and Robinson were like a really nice complement to each other. Taylor Heineke, after a slow start, played just really heated up and got hot and showed the talent that he has. The over-the-shoulder dime to McLaurin, and then the lights out punch, that sideline joint to McLaurin later in the game on third down when they had to have it to close it out. So I think the Commanders, it to a degree, it kind of makes me mad. I wanted the Sam Howell experience to happen sooner rather than later. And so, Washington's alive. So we're going to see Heineke a little bit going forward here at 3-4.
All right, listen real quick, and then we're going to let you go. Okay. Aaron Rodgers had something to say today about what's going on with the Packers. You by the way, you are in the lead for the Tom Brady death march. He did not look good again. I'm still blaming Bulls more. But let's hear from Aaron Rodgers after the latest complete debacle for the Green Bay Packers.
I talked about simplification last week. I don't really know where to go when it comes to that. There has to be, something inside that has an accountability for performance, where we're just having way too many detailed mistakes. It's just not winning football. When you're expecting, it could be a total wrong route, or it could be a wrong stem, or it could be the release. We're just not good enough to overcome some of those things right now.
All right, last thoughts before we let you go and enjoy your night, Rick. It's over. Is it over for the Packers?
It's over for the Packers and it's over for the Buccaneers.
Okay.
It's over. It's over for both. And both quarterbacks look old, rickety, disinterested, like they've got one foot out the door. I've seen it for weeks. I mean, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And that's why I keep asking jokingly, who's more washed, Brady, Rodgers, or Wilson? It's a legit question right now. Like they're all either washed or on their way to being washed. But what I hear in there, guys, is what I saw from Brady last year barking at his offensive lineman when Brady is just willingly taking sacks and backpedaling to say, throw the ball away, dude. You don't have to take a sack. Throw the ball away. He's not even doing that. He's just willingly accepting sacks. Rodgers is not helping his offensive line. He's just standing there. He's just a target, sitting duck. So, and obviously he had issues with Dobbs today in the game. There's no doubt about that. And Dobbs made some mistakes. But damn, guys, are you watching the Packers like I am?
I watched it. I'm a Packers fan.
Is he painting a masterpiece out there, or is he missing lots and lots of throws week after week? Please, these are excuses.
It's a couple of different things. It's Rodgers. He looks a little bit washed, as you're talking about, but at the same time, I think there is merit to what he's saying. That look, we're just not good enough, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. If they don't make a move for a legitimate wide receiver, like Colden and I talked about it, Kansas City lost Tyreek Hill. They went out and got Juju. They went out and got MVS. They drafted a couple of young players. They had some stopgaps there. The Packers just said, "Oh, we lost Devontae. Okay, well, we got Lazard and Cobb and Tunyon, and we'll bring in a couple of young kids." Like, that's just not going to get it done. And to me, there's blame on both sides. It's bad on both ends.
All right, Rick, take care of yourself. Plug the show with Lisa Ann, and then go have a good night.
Appreciate you guys, man. So Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, we'll be back up with Bettor Sports Live. And we'll have NBA props for you. We'll be talking about the baseball playoffs, obviously reacting to week 7, looking ahead to Monday Night Football, all that stuff. And then Tuesday this week, guys, Lisa Ann is on. It's typically Wednesday.
Okay.
She's an absolute superstar. So she's flying to Switzerland for some sort of ho-ho Swiss Miss kind of gig. I don't even know what the hell it is.
I thought it was Rocco Siffredi.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure.
The fact that you know who he is, I like that.
Yeah, baby. But yeah, Tuesday night, Lisa Ann will be on Bettor Sports Live, and then you got me the rest of the week, guys. So I always appreciate the time and hanging out with you guys on Sunday.
Take care, buddy. Take care of yourself. All right, Rick Hamlin. Very, very good stuff. All right, let's wrap this up here. I love having Rick on, by the way. I really do.
Good dude.
Brings
Good
the
dude.
energy.
I never talked to him, and before I came on here with you.
Let me just update you. I don't think I had either. I think we'd run the same circles, but I never have. Yeah. So hit the fun button on the way out after we're done here. Make sure you leave on some good mojo.
All the fun.
Hopefully you won some giblets today. That'd be nice. Hit the workbench tonight. It's going to be an amazing night for you. Keenan Allen basically did nothing. They got a week 8 bye. Mike Williams, ankle injury. They have the bye. Should be good after the bye. So the Chargers should be getting in a little better shape after the bye, but Brandon Staley's still their head coach. Breece Hall, fear is that it's an ACL. Nothing official. Not good. No update on DK Metcalf, who left early with an ankle. So those are the injuries. I'm going to read off the leaderboard here. I want you to talk about one of these guys and just your thoughts on them, okay? Top 5 today. Actually, I want to get through this. Eckler, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, 1, 2, and 3. Aaron Jones, Eno Benjamin, Travis Etienne. Talk to me here. Who really stood out to you today?
Who really stood out to me today? It was really Josh Jacobs. He was a guy that I expected to have a good game in this one, but I don't know if I expected 3 touchdowns. Great. Over 140 yards rushing. Like, that is exactly what you needed out of Josh Jacobs. If you're Josh McDaniels and you're that Raiders team and you're a Raiders fan, it's exactly what you were looking for. Like, we've seen Austin Eckler have these type of games before. I'm not saying that we haven't seen Josh Jacobs have these type of games, but that's his ceiling. He is an every down back, and he hadn't really been healthy enough to prove it over his first 4 years of his career. They didn't give him that 5th-year extension. Okay, no, let me go ball out because he's looking for a contract.
Yeah.
And if you don't ball out, people aren't going to pay top dollar. I mean, look at what happened with the Cowboys. They paid top dollar to Zeke Elliott, and he hasn't been able to stay on the football field. He had fumbleitis last year. He's now in a timeshare with Tony Pollard. It's not great. But Josh Jacobs has proven that he can be an every down back and just an absolute weapon. So he was the man who stood out to me most in that top 5.
All right, top 5 for a quarterback. It was Joe Burrow and everyone else. Burrow, 39.24. Daniel Jones, Pat Mahomes, Dalton Lawrence rounding out the top 5. We got 2 minutes here. I'll just mention this. You and I talked about Daniel Jones, and you think he is startable in a 12-team league?
Yeah, I would start him in a 12-team league at this point. He offers you a little something passing and the rushing ability. He puts you up there right now.
Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, the top 2 point scorers, thanks to Joe Burrow. Then you got Mecole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster. So top 5, Chase, who had 33 PPR, Boyd, Hardman, Juju, Paris Campbell.
Man, Paris Campbell to me stood out the most. It's just such a blip on the radar, such a fluke. But good for him. Had a good day, had a good game. There wasn't a lot of crazy wide receiver stats today. And you mentioned the top 5, Jamar Chase with Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, and Cooper Kupp all on a bye. He was your lone ranger at the top there. And then everybody else was just kind of like throwing darts at this point to see what sticks.
Meladan says Kenny Walker was the guy that stood out to him at running back. Yeah, it's Walker, Eckler, Jacobs. Those 3 guys went bananas in the afternoon slate. Tight end day, National Tight End Day. 2 guys facing each other, 2 of the best in the game. Kittle, number 1 at 21.8, 6 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown. Then it was Juwan Johnson at 20.2. And then there's a big chasm there. Kelsey, 6 for 75. That was it. Or actually 6 for 98 today. So that's what Travis Kelsey had. And okay. I mean, that's tight end for you. And then Njoku's hurt. And you got a bunch of dudes that are going to score you 10, 11 points this week. And that's about it. So it's Kittle. Kittle's back on the radar. He's back in the circle of trust. Hey, I want to thank everybody for checking the show out today. Greg, it's been a lot of fun working with you. I'm sure we will again as well. Thanks to Matt and thanks to Rivera and everybody behind the scenes. We really appreciate it. Hit the like button, the fun button, I should say, on the way out. For Greg, I'm holding the Bettor Zone. Is it finished?
Bettor